the sideshow to hear from the commentators.
On Capitol Hill, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
A Los Angeles sheriff's deputy is in critical condition the morning after he was shot in the head at a Jack in the Box restaurant. He was off duty, not in uniform, standing at the counter at the time the gunman drove away. Former baseball all-star David Ortiz is back in Boston after a medical flight the Red Sox provided after Ortiz was shot in the Dominican Republic Sunday night.
Flown to Mass General late last night. This guy is a legend here, and they are worried about him. But there's a lot of questions about the actual shooting. One man is in custody. Another man is on the loose. We believe that the shooter may be in custody, but the investigation continues. Ortiz will be questioned by the police in Boston when he is able to do so.
Fox's Griff Jenkins in the Dominican Republic. There was no party across Canada last night. The Toronto Raptors came up one shot shy of winning the NBA title. Golden State beat them 106-105 in Game 5 of the finals, but the two-time defending champion Warriors lost star player Kevin Durant again. He just returned from injury, came up limp again. Team Vice President Bob Myers emotional after.
If you have to, you can blame me. I run our basketball operations department.
This is Fox News.
58 degrees at 5:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. The newborn daughter of the suburban Crystal Lake woman accused of killing her 5-year-old son will remain in protective custody. The Northwest Herald is reporting this morning that Joanne Cunningham gave birth to that child May 31st while in jail. A McHenry County judge ordered 2 men yesterday to submit to paternity testing in an effort to identify who fathered the baby girl. Cunningham and her ex-boyfriend, Andrew Friend Sr., face murder charges in the death of their son, A.J. Friend, whose body was found buried in Woodstock in April. Bail denied for a woman accused of stabbing her parents to death in Arlington Heights. Deborah Martin was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder after her parents, Ann and David Martin, were found dead early Saturday in a home in the first block of South Derbyshire Lane. An autopsy found both had been stabbed and their deaths were ruled a homicide. The daughter was arrested after confronting officers while they were attending to the victims. Surveillance video obtained exclusively by the Associated Press shows 2 fast-moving Chicago police vehicles with their emergency lights on colliding at an intersection, then crashing into another car and killing an 84-year-old retired teacher. The video was provided to the AP Monday by a lawyer representing the woman's family. It shows that police van going through a red light, striking another police vehicle. Both slam into the family car, killing Verona Gunn, injuring 3 others. The Memorial Day weekend collision also injured 10 police officers. Police are trying to find out who left a suspicious package outside of a church in Wheaton. Authorities say the bomb squad was called out last night to St. Joseph Orthodox Church for a large box with a typed-up note on top. Nearby homes were evacuated as a precaution after a blast was set off. The package appeared to have been an electronic doorbell wrapped up and then sealed in that box. An off-duty Chicago police officer has been charged with DUI and reckless homicide after police said he crashed into a Southside restaurant, killing a woman, injuring another on Sunday. Terrence Finley has been charged with 1 count of felony reckless homicide with a motor vehicle and 1 felony count of aggravated DUI accidental death. He's set to appear in bond court later today. 3 workers are facing animal cruelty charges following the release of a video showing workers at a Northwest Indiana farm maltreating young calves. Newton County Sheriff's announcing yesterday the misdemeanor charges. An animal welfare group released undercover video last week that appeared to show employees allegedly abusing calves at Fair Oaks Farms. Authorities have identified a man found dead in the Chicago River on the northwest side as a man who went missing several days earlier. Ari Davidson's remains were discovered June 5th in the river near the 800 block of North Halstead. He was last seen on May 31st. Mayor Lori Lightfoot and the Chicago Police Department are launching a new crime-fighting initiative that will partner with local businesses.
Of course, the city of Chicago will lead, and the police department will play a significant role, but our business community, our block clubs, and our neighborhood organizations and individual citizens also need to be a part of the solution.
The plan involves placing a business liaison officer in each of the city's 22 police districts. Civic leaders are showing support for a Northwest suburban family. 2 weeks ago, the Barrington family's lawn was vandalized. Dozens of plastic forks and a for sale sign with a suicide hotline number written on it were found in the yard of Sharon and Scott Nellis on May 31st. Parents said their teenage daughter, who is a lesbian and a student at Barrington High School, was the target of harassment. At the Barrington Village Board meeting last night, Cook County Commissioner Kevin Morrison denounced the vandalism. Barrington police continue to investigate. Surveillance video from the family doorbell is aiding in that investigation. Trouble brewing at Western Illinois University this morning, where a group of former students are giving the school's president until the end of the month to resign. If he does not, WIU Alumni Council says they will push to have President Jack Thomas fired. The council delivered its ultimatum to the school yesterday. The alumni partially blamed Thomas for falling enrollment at Western Illinois, a series of budget cuts, and for what they say, being slow to react on the job. A woman recovering after being struck by a foul ball during the White Sox-Nationals game last night. The fan was hit in the bottom of the fourth inning. White Sox say the fan was alert and communicative, but hospitalized for evaluation. Guaranteed Rate Field has extra protective netting that extends well beyond the dugouts. Ryan McMahon's go-ahead RBI single in the bottom of the eighth lifted the Rockies to a 6-5 win over the Cubs. Anibal Sanchez allowed one run over 6 innings of work. Nationals rout the White Sox 12-1. But some good news for Sox fans. White Sox GM Rick Hahn says top pitching prospect Dylan Cease is joining the team.
He's not going to come here because there's necessarily a need in Chicago. He's going to come here because we feel it's the next step in his development. And we feel like he's put himself in the position to succeed, not just survive.
Mandatory minicamp for the Bears kicks off today at Hallis Hall. The News is a service of Wyndham Hotels and Resorts with more than 6,000 hotels across the country, including La Quinta, Days Inn, and Super 8. A great hotel by Wyndham is closer than you think. Find one near you and book direct at wyndhamhotels.com. 5:08, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
News, opinion, insight.
They broke the deal. They can't do that, so they'll be paying. We don't make the deal.
What happens next happens here.
The special counsel's finding is clear. Case closed.
That's just not a fact. The case is not closed.
These stories and more are changing by the minute. Check in 2, 3, 4 times each day for the latest.
If they do anything, it will be a very bad mistake.
This is AM 560. The Answer.
Have you heard about Newsmax TV? It's America's fastest-growing cable news channel in 70 million homes. Every minute, every day. Watch Newsmax for breaking news on President Trump. Plus, get insights from Bill O'Reilly, Alan Dershowitz, Pat Buchanan, Mike Reagan, and more. You can find Newsmax TV on DirecTV, Xfinity, Dish, Optimum, Spectrum, Fios, Uverse, Suddenlink, WOW, and dozens of cable systems. So check your guide now and watch Newsmax TV. Real news for real people.
Hey, people at my friend's company got blackmail emails.
Yeah, it's a popular type of spear phishing attack.
Wow, that sounds serious.
It is. Scammers claim to have compromising information, like a video, and threaten to share it with their contact list, unless the victim pays a ransom.
What if they target someone at our company?
We're secured. Barracuda Sentinel uses artificial intelligence to block spear phishing attacks, including blackmail emails.
Well, that's a relief.
Protect your business at Barracuda.com. Barracuda, your journey secured.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Amanda Zanger, owner of Black Industrial and Safety Supply in Hammond, Indiana, and a business customer of Signature Bank. Prior to owning my own business, I worked for a major financial institution. So when it came time to finance the acquisition of Black, I approached a big bank, only to receive a solid no. That's when Signature Bank stepped in. With Signature Bank, the process was different. Signature provided creative financing options that enabled me to purchase Black and continue to grow the business. Thanks to Signature Bank, Black Industrial is able to continue serving Fortune 500 industry fabricators and contractors with tools and safety supplies as we have since 1893.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
When you're insured by Mag Mutual, you get more than just medical professional liability protection. You get partnership. Mag Mutual is your partner when it comes to safeguarding patients, physicians, and healthcare teams. Everything they do is focused on protecting and supporting you in the practice of medicine. From helping you save money to mitigating your risk, Mag Mutual is your single source for customized service and support. Their promise to protect includes comprehensive insurance solutions for the practice, business, and regulation of medicine, expert guidance, an extensive resource library, and complimentary access to up-to-date and evidence-based clinical decision support resource. Mag Mutual is committed to your success. You can stay focused on your patients knowing Mag Mutual is your partner. Visit them on the web at magmutual.com.
For more information about Mag Mutual in Illinois, please contact Jim Nelson at RT Nelson at 630-990-4220 or by email at jnelson@rtnelson.com. Visit their website at rtnelson.com.
Get your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. Download the Credit Karma app now. Credit Karma. Here's to progress.
It is 5:12. Let's get an update on the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
On this Tuesday morning, we are seeing roadwork delays on the Kennedy inbound Chicago Avenue to the Burns Circle. It's 27 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 17 from Montrose. The express lanes have yet to open. The outbound side, the delays are from Irving Park to Montrose. Work for the two left lanes. Looking at about 22 minutes from downtown to the airport. Edens is fine. No problems to report on the Eisenhower. There is some overnight work wrapping up on the extension. Stevenson is delay-free for now. Rye looks okay. Outbound work 87th. The split continues till 6 this morning. Some work is wrapping up on inbound I-57 at the Bishop Ford Freeway. Tollway traffic is light. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Here's our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Sunshine, nice day today. High 78, increasing cloudiness tonight, low 62. Cloudy and cool, shower and thunderstorm tomorrow, the high 68. Clouds and sun for Thursday afternoon, the high 67. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
58 at O'Hare, 61 along the lakefront. And your next news update is at 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Secure Retirement Radio with host Raj Shah. Sunday mornings at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, and I had to employ some Bo and Luke Duke maneuvers to get here on time because of the lane closures on the Kennedy. So I think Amy, in her 1977 vintage Caravan, is still trying to navigate those lane closures, and so she'll be here in a couple of minutes. Anyway, yesterday, quite the show the Socialists put on, bringing John Dean out, breaking him out of the emergency glass so that he could define his preferred narrative when it comes to Republican presidents from the Mueller report. Some fun exchanges, starting with Matt Gaetz, Republican from Florida on the House Judiciary Committee, who didn't go all the way back to Watergate, just went back to the George W. Bush administration and what John Dean thought should have happened to W.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I seek unanimous consent to enter into the record a December 30th, 2005 essay written by Mr. John Dean entitled George W. Bush as the New Richard Nixon, both wiretapped illegally and impeachably.
Without objection?
Mr. Dean, how many American presidents have you accused of being Richard Nixon?
I actually wrote a book about Mr. Bush and Mr. Cheney with the title Worse Than Watergate.
So it's sort of become a cottage. Did you make money on that book?
It was a very successful book,
How much
yes.
money did you make on it?
I'm sorry, I don't have any idea.
More than $1 million?
No.
More than $500,000?
I said I don't have any idea.
Then how do you know it wasn't less than $1 million?
I don't really know exactly. I think I'm going to object to
Wait a second. Mr. Dean has made a cottage industry out of accusing presidents of acting like Richard Nixon. I would like to know how much money he makes based on making these accusations and exploiting them for his own economic benefit. And you're saying that's
Mr. Gates, Mr. Gates, I appreciate you were not born at the time this all happened.
Is that funny?
It's not by choice that I've done a lot of this. It's and I've been dragged into it.
Yeah, right. Dragged into it by your fellow partisans, since you went from being a Goldwater Republican to Hillary Clinton, much like Hillary Clinton did. So here's the thing. Dragged into it. The Democrats' whole show yesterday was John Dean and a couple former U.S. attorneys who are not fact witnesses, who have nothing to contribute on the substance of the discussion, including the discussion the Democrats want to have. They're just divining or coming up with a rationale, much like the Democrats are, from the Mueller report that's a public document. And so what Doug Collins, the ranking Republican on the Judiciary Committee, had to say about this, I thought was spot on. Why do we need to convene before the House Judiciary Committee? I could watch you on CNN if I was going to get this.
But however, here we come with some folks that are great folks. You're wonderful on TV. I could catch your testimony on TV. In fact, by the way, I could this morning. I'm a Republican. I believe that you use everything that you've got to as much business as you want and generate as much as you want to work for yourself. But I don't believe it's the problem of this committee to have to come and hear from those who are not a part of the Mueller investigation, who are not a part of this, pontificating on things that you can do on TV like all of us get a chance to do occasionally, but not here on the hearing.
And Collins went on to paraphrase one of Democrats' favorite presidents of recent times.
Just a few years ago, it was brought up, and one of our candidates talked about Russia being a threat, and the former president, Mr. Obama, said, that the 80s are asking for their foreign policy back. Well, guess what? This committee is now hearing from the 70s, and they want their star witness back. In fact, it's very difficult for one of the witnesses here today, for many of us who could actually trace the distrust in government back to the witness here today, the 70 star of obstruction.
That's right. That's what John Dean was. For those of you like Matt Getz, not old enough to remember, you didn't live through it, so you have to live through something to know the history of it. Well, that's a bunch of nonsense. But Collins did a nice job of reminding everybody after they got done establishing that this was a show, including people that have nothing material to add, just their opinions from the Mueller report, like a roundtable on CNN. He reminded people just who John Dean is.
And for those of us who've heard me discuss the fact, and many on our committee and on our side discuss the fact of the corrupt cabal, what we see of Strzok, Page, McCabe, Comey, and others, how we actually got started here, I believe that they have the Godfather here today, Mr. Dean. In fact, probably had a picture of how do we actually use the governmental resources to interfere in other people's campaigns. Mr. Dean is the Godfather. They may even had a picture of you knowing how you do it. And that is here today, again, to talk about a president that obviously you don't like, an interview in ways that you had pled guilty to. I appreciate your right to be here.
Mm-hmm. And the president responded to Dean testifying on Capitol Hill.
John Dean's been a loser for many years, so I've been watching him on one of the networks that is not exactly Trump-oriented, and I guess they paid him a lot of money over the years. No, John's been a loser for a long time. We know that. I think he was disbarred, and he went to prison. Other than that, he's doing a great job.
Yeah, so it was great that Jerry Nadler came out from halftime, a la Willis Reed in the 1970 NBA Finals. But to have this little show with John Dean as the star. But, yeah, he's a convicted felon. He's a disbarred attorney. He was, according to the FBI, during Watergate, essentially the mastermind of the cover-up. And it's just to watch all the tortured shoehorning of the Watergate narrative into the Trump presidency. So since Bob Mueller wasn't Archibald Cox because Bob Mueller didn't get fired, then Jim Comey is Archibald Cox, even though Jim Comey told the president that he wasn't under investigation, so the president would have had no reason to fire Jim Comey to obstruct justice. I mean, it's just so lame, frankly. And as John Hendraker and Powerline blog observed, I don't think that show with some corrupt fossil from 50 years ago moves the needle for the Democrats a single iota. Single iota. I think the audience for this, and I don't think it moves her either, it wasn't even the American public. It was Nancy Pelosi. That's what I think the audience was. Now they're trying to tell Pelosi, I'm going to continue parading people in front of the American public, whether they have anything germane to add or not, until you give me what I want. You're going to have to do better than that, Jerry.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
When the world is watching and you need your logo perfectly printed on promotional items, you need the ultimate guarantee. You need certainty. To know for certain it'll be right the first time, on the right items, at a great price. You need the promotional product experts at 4imprint. Because as soon as something has your logo on it, it matters to you, your customers, your coworkers, and to us. From pens and caps to hot tech and popular brands, 4imprint's wide selection always changes to keep up with the latest trends. But there is one thing we've delivered for over 30 years that's timeless: certainty. Because the world is certainly watching. Explore thousands of promotional products at 4imprint.com. That's the number 4imprint.com. 4imprint. For certain.
Who wants to golf with us on Monday, June 24th at the Mistwood Golf Club in Romeoville, presented by Clear Financial Strategies. It's our annual golf outing, and we'd like you to join us for our 2 p.m. afternoon shotgun. There's lunch before, golf, and then dinner. Of course, a round of golf in between the meals. So pick up the phone and call to reserve your foursome. Proceeds from the golf tournament benefit the 100 clubs of Chicago, Lake, McHenry, DuPage, and Will counties. 312-363-6680. That's 312-363-6680. Again, anyone can join us for a great day of golf. And if you're a business owner or make the marketing decisions for your company, don't forget the Business Benefactor Program. $3,000 radio advertising deal for only $1,196. You get to play golf, and we'll give you 25 one-minute commercials. To sign up for that, call the same number, 312-363-6680.
Napa know-how.
At Napa Auto Parts, you can get $25 or more off brand new DeWalt power tools by trading in your old ones. You know, those worthless tools you never use anymore? Yeah, those dusty things can actually save you at least $25 on new DeWalt power tools. Not so worthless after all. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer ends 6/30/19.
Liberty Mutual Insurance presents and Doug.
Limu, there's a woman threatening to sign up for generic car insurance. Grab your birdseed and let's go.
I'm gonna sign these papers right here, right now.
Ma'am, drop the pen. Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Thanks, Limu, Emu, and Doug.
Don't thank us, thank Liberty Mutual. But also thank us.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Equal housing insurer. State laws apply.
Your kids won't be thinking about school very much this summer, but it's the perfect time for you to think about where you'll be sending your child back to school this fall. More and more parents are thinking about private school, and maybe that's you. Well, private school has never been more affordable thanks to halfpriceschools.com, where you can find tuition vouchers for private schools across Chicagoland available at half of the normal price. No catch. It's simple. Find a school near you, purchase the tuition voucher, and prepare to send your child off to school this fall. Halfpriceschools.com has schools located all across Chicagoland, including Christian Liberty Academy in Arlington Heights, Covenant Christian in Aurora, Trinity Lutheran in Lombard, Faith Evangelical Lutheran in Antioch, Calvin Christian, South Holland, Kingswood Academy in Darien, and Westminster Christian in Elgin. But don't delay. Summer won't last forever, and school will be starting again before you know it. Visit halfpriceschools.com today. Many of these vouchers have already sold out, so do not wait. Visit halfpriceschools.com today. That's halfpriceschools.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, it's Gay Pride Month. Talked a little bit about that yesterday. I did on sitting in for His Eminence, Dennis Prager, as well.
Have you decided to do a conversion for 30 days? Take one for the team?
I'm not going to do the 30 Days Gay solidarity play. I just,
so ridiculous.
Unlike those forward-thinking leftist heterosexual men, I'm just not comfortable enough in my sexuality to date guys for a month as some sort of solidarity sop to the gay rights movement.
And what type of woman would actually let their husband or boyfriend do that? That says a lot about them.
The whole thing says a lot about where we're at, frankly.
Exactly.
And the Daily News Foundation sent one of its intrepid reporters to the D.C. Pride event over the weekend.
Oh, yeah, there's a stampede there, by the way. Did you see that? Because somebody thought they heard a gunshot, and then all the barricades were thrown over, and people got injured.
And what was it, like a cap gun just to say it's party time?
Yeah, nobody had a gun. No, the police investigated, and somebody thought that they heard a gun, and there's a major stampede.
Michael Winslow must have been there doing his sound effects. This Daily Caller reporter just asked folks in attendance, what's the biggest threat to the gay rights movement? I would ask them practically, is there a threat to the gay rights movement? I'm not seeing it, but okay.
What do you think the biggest threat to gay rights is today?
Straight people? I think you could say this administration right now. That's all I'm going to say. And I think our current administration.
Donald Trump, yeah. Donald Trump.
The police, first and foremost.
Our current political establishment. I think the biggest threat is the Trump administration.
What do you think the bigger threat to gay rights is in America? Radical Islam or Donald Trump?
I mean, I think we all know the answer to that one. The big orange thing sitting in the White House. Yeah, him.
Radical Islam or Donald Trump?
I live under a rock. I would probably say Trump.
Donald Trump.
Sounds like a trick question to me because they both got issues.
Trump and his administration have casted multiple threats on an entire race. Honestly, Trump is a white supremacist, and all he cares about is white people and white power.
Straight people.
He gives no f***s about anyone other than white people.
F*** it, I am who I am. If you don't like it, f*** it.
Regardless of those two options, what is the biggest threat to gay rights in this country today?
I would say it comes down to a humane rights issue.
The white power that involves this country is disgusting. I think white power should be released from this country, and I think that Trump and his administration perpetuate a system of racism that is institutionalized, and black people and people of color are absolutely marginalized and really just like criminalized for no reason, and I think that it's all because of Trump and his administration.
Yeah, pretty much.
Laverne and Shirley there, the gay rights movement. I'll tell you what, that young lady's very passionate.
Well, there is no solid answer there, Dan.
No, the solid answer, the greatest threat, the most frequent answer was Trump. The greatest threat to the gay rights movement. I don't know exactly how that is, or if the gay rights movement, whatever that even means anymore, is under any threat whatsoever. What's the remaining quote unquote threat, even from their perspective? That's what I would ask. I just want it to be defined because I don't know what it is. I know
they know what it is either.
We just want civil unions. Oh, no, now we want redefinition of marriage. Oh, now we want sexual orientation classified as a protected class like race and gender. No, not.
And now we want 3 choices on our driver's license.
Well, yeah, right. But, I mean, you ask what the greatest threat to the gay race movement is, you get some dissertation about racism in America. It's all very confusing, I suppose, because the respondents are very confused.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll revisit Trump's win on the border on Friday with the deal with Mexico. Perspective from a Guatemalan government official on why people are fleeing his country into Mexico at 5:38.
And Lori Lightfoot, our new mayor, claims that the Chicago police were not doing their job. We'll explain. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
58 degrees, the spotlight on the Mueller report in a House hearing on Monday. Former White House counsel John Dean was the witness before the Judiciary Committee. Counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, said the whole thing was a waste of time.
They're going to have none other than John Dean testifying. Can't we find somebody who's not disgraced, disbarred, and didn't go to jail for obstruction of justice? This is somebody, they just won't move on.
The panel is holding hearings on the Mueller-Russia investigation. The earthquake that was felt in Ohio, now registering a 4.0 magnitude on the Richter scale, centered in Lake Erie, but felt over much of the northern part of the state. Those who experienced it said it felt like a car slammed into their homes. The investigation continues into the deadly helicopter crash in New York City. Mayor Bill de Blasio was on the scene.
There is no indication at this time that this was an act of terror, and there is no ongoing threat to New York City.
The helicopter crashed onto the roof of a building on 7th Avenue in Midtown Manhattan, killing the pilot. Now, Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney wants to ban all non-essential flights over New York City.
It is just too densely populated. It is too dangerous, and there is absolutely no safe place to land.
Golden State Warriors still alive in the NBA Finals. Head coach Steve Kerr said after the win it was bittersweet.
It's a bizarre feeling that we all have right now. An incredible win and a horrible loss at the same time.
They beat the Raptors 106-105 in Game 5 in Toronto to fend off elimination. This morning, Judge Robert Blakely is expected to decide the fate of a project that could alter the South Side. Summary judgment on the lawsuit challenging the location of the Obama Presidential Center filed by a park advocacy group against the city and the Chicago Park District should be ruled on today. Protect Our Parks argued the city reached beyond its powers to place the Obama Center in Jackson Park, and also questions how the location was chosen overall. City claims that Protect Our Parks argument is not relevant because their arrangement with the Obama Foundation does not violate the public trust doctrine. Bail denied for a woman accused of stabbing her parents to death in Arlington Heights. Deborah Martin was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder after her parents, Ann and David, were found dead early Saturday. A group of former students at Western Illinois University say they're giving the school's president till the end of the month to resign. If he does not, the Alumni Council says they will push to have President Jack Thomas fired. Rockies over the Cubs, 6-5 in Denver. Nationals rout the White Sox 12-1. Mandatory minicamp for the Bears, prospects, and veterans kicks off today at Hallis Hall. 5:34, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager sees a huge trend that leads to a crumbling society.
4 in 10 American children are now born to unmarried mothers, up from about 5%, that's 1 in 20, in 1960. I would say the majority of people under 40 would respond, so what?
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Want to give your kids or grandkids a summer camp experience they'll never forget? Consider St. John's Northwestern Leadership Academy's summer programs. Nestled in the beautiful Lake Country region of southeast Wisconsin, St. John's Northwestern offers day and boarding camp programs for all ages. Fresh air and physical activity are key ingredients for a rewarding summer experience, and the programs at St. John's Northwestern offer plenty of it. Plus, they add some very important extras: leadership development, team building, and character building. The combination is transformative. Whether you seek a fun day camp, an away-from-home adventure, or academic support over summer break, St. John's Northwestern's got it. St. John's Northwestern Summer Leadership Academies. Leadership lives here. Get more info at 1-800-SJ-CADET. That's 1-800-SJ-CADET. Or online at sjnma.org. That's sjnma.org.
Message and data rates may apply.
Ladies and gentlemen, this may be the last time you ever have to worry about hair loss. Because Bosley is the real deal. They're giving women and men their hair back permanently. Their real hair. All it takes to get started is a single text message. You'll get an absolutely free information kit and a free gift card when you text TRUST to 85850. Bosley will show you, for free, how great your hair could look. You'll also see, for free, why you're losing hair and how to get it back. Women and men all over the country trust Bosley because they're America's #1 hair restoration expert, ahead of the curve with the latest technology. And the best part? Bosley has permanent solutions to hair loss. You'll love what they'll do for your hair. So drop what you're doing long enough to send a text. Get your free information kit and gift card for $250 off by texting TRUST to 85850. Don't forget, that's TRUST to 85850.
A lost dog, not a lost cause. Read Catching Murphy, the latest book from the Associated Press, available now exclusively at Amazon.com.
5:37. Let's get an update on your ride to work in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim Telemonte.
Traffic is jammed right now. The westbound Adams Tollway I-90 from Toohey to the old Des Plaines Oasis. 3 left lanes remain blocked for overnight work. This isn't scheduled to clear until 6 this morning, and 2 left lanes remain blocked until 7 a.m. The outbound Kennedy. Before you get to that point, you'll find a brief slowdown. Irving Park to Montrose with work. 2 left lanes are supposed to be opening up there, but you're looking at a 2 or 3 minute delay. The Edens is fine, the Eisenhower as well. On Stevenson, you've got a 2-minute delay from Ashland to the Ryan. Inbound Ryan is heavy, Cermak into the Burn Circle. That's a 2 or 3 minute delay. See slight delays on inbound I-57 at Bishop Ford. It's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next, and your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. Sunny and pleasant day ahead. High of 78, increasing clouds overnight, low 62. Currently 58. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by CharlesEquipment.com, keeping you powered up no matter what the conditions.
Listen to podcasts of Joe Walsh and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. President Trump appearing on Squawk Box yesterday. Talk largely trade policy, both with respect to China and with respect to Mexico, including
his big win yesterday with Mexico.
His big, right, well, yeah, over the weekend, right. That's already being implemented in a material fashion, as we discussed yesterday. Here's what President Trump had to say about the impact of tariffs, and he also addressed the New York Times and their, what he would say, fake news with respect to the
troops going to the border, right? Because they said that was already in motion.
Yeah, with respect to things that had been negotiated, but how this got done, that there was a clean break. This is a difference. This is not something that, it was a done deal back in March and we just waited till June to announce it. Not the case.
But in the case of Mexico, I would say we'd get virtually 100% of the companies. I mean, they make a product and they sell it into our country. We lose a tremendous amount of money every year with Mexico. You know, for years, we've lost over $100 billion a year on trade with Mexico. And, of course, then we get into the second problem we have with Mexico, which maybe, frankly, is the first, and that's drugs, and drugs coming across the border. So we want to have very, very powerful borders, and you can't do it unless you have these deals with Mexico. And the New York Times wrote a story like, I already made the deal. It's nonsense. We talked about it for months and months and months, and they wouldn't get there. And we just said, hey, look, if you don't get there, we're just going to have to charge you hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes. And we would have been just fine, because what would have happened, all these babies, these I don't know if they can honestly believe it. You got it, Joe. I noticed you were just about 80% there, not quite 100, but you were 80% there. But what will happen is the companies will move into the United States, back where they came from.
Yeah, I mean, just a couple of points of order. One, trade deficits could also be called good surpluses. We don't lose $100 billion a year to Mexico. We gain net $100 billion worth of goods to the benefit of American consumers. Okay. That notwithstanding, I won't go, down that road of trying to talk intelligently about tariffs. The president deserves credit for getting that deal done. Yep. It is a significant accomplishment.
And it's not only just 6,000 troops, but also the asylum seekers have to remain in Mexico while they're waiting for their cases to be heard.
Yeah,
that's a big step, too.
The migration protection protocols is big. It's something that Mexico was reluctant to do, and they're doing it. Mexico now saying that the limited number of asylum seekers it would accept it's now saying it will accept those asylum seekers to remain without restrictions. So, as National Review opines, it's a big deal. Although our capacity to process the migrants for return is limited, and it remains to be seen how much Mexico will do to follow through on its commitment, the deal at least makes it possible for us to prevent Central American family units from automatically gaining entry into this country, and thus significantly reduces the incentive for a future flow of migrants. That's right. In addition, here, just some of the subtext here, there's an understanding that if this deal doesn't work to stem the flow of migrants to our southern border, the U.S. and Mexico will discuss a broader accord on asylum policy, perhaps on a regional basis, to require migrants to seek asylum in the first country they enter. This would have the same effect as the so-called safe third country agreements, keeping migrants from traveling through countries where they could seek asylum if they weren't desperate to get to the United States for economic reasons. It would be transformative at the border. So that's still a possibility. The bottom line is you have constructive engagement and real commitments that are being at least abided in the first few days after the agreement by Mexico. That is a material accomplishment. There's just no two ways around it, no matter how the New York Times wants to try to distort it. And it's interesting because now the questions are being put to Guatemalan officials. Why are so many people fleeing your country? What's going on? Interesting sit down with this guy, Enrique Degenhardt. He's the Minister of Governance. And, the Guatemalan president and Trump should be able to work out a deal, too. They're both actors.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right.
Jimmy Morales. Former comic actor. He's the president of Guatemala. Here's what Degenhardt had to say to that question of why are so many people fleeing Guatemala into Mexico to try and get to the U.S.?
Let me start by saying that our macroeconomic numbers in the country are very good. We have actually the lowest criminal rates in the country that we have had for the past 15 or 20 years, which means that it's probably not a factor of economics or security. What we have identified, and this is part of what we have to work with, is basically the pull factor in a mix of cultural situations that happen in country. When I'm talking about the pull factor, I'm basically talking about our neighbor Mexico, that unfortunately has been offering different kind of benefits, admin benefits, visas, and other kind of work permits and situations that what basically do is they enhance the interest of our Guatemalans on using Mexico and the route to get to the U.S.
Okay, Enrique. So I'm a little confused. On the one hand,
Things look like they're turning around in Guatemala, but people are still fleeing.
right.
That's what it's
The macroeconomic numbers look good. Crime is down. People aren't leaving for economic reasons, except they're leaving for economic reasons. It's a little confusing. He does, though, offer sort of a hopeful note, a constructive note in terms of what Guatemala may be willing to do. And this goes to this idea of perhaps doing some safe third country policy regionally.
We, constitutionally speaking, can't prohibit them from leaving the country. However, what we have been saying is that we want them to do it on a legal basis using the actual rules of law that apply in the U.S. So it's again, as a mix. I don't want to discourage the Guatemalans that do leave the country for asylum reasons, but I think that there are different processes involved that can be solved either in country or in a neighbor country that don't necessarily mean that they have to come up here on an irregular way.
Well, again, why would they be seeking asylum if everything is so hunky-dory in Guatemala? But okay, the important thing is just the tone and the openness to being constructive on helping to stem the tide of migrants from Guatemala making their way up. The same way when Pence talked to the Honduran president, there was at least notes of a willingness to be constructive, to publicly advocate that citizens of Guatemala, of Honduras, abide U.S. law as they try to emigrate for whatever reason. So that's encouraging, because if you can do a deal with Mexico and you can continue to keep these lines of communication open, talking about regional solutions to this migratory problem, then you have something cooking. And the Trump administration deserves a lot of credit for this. I mean, there's just no two ways about it.
And they're not getting that credit.
Well, they're not, from the usual sources.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
Mark on the north side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, Nicole Wallace and AM Joy Friday, they were talking about how Trump's policies are causing this humanitarian crisis at the border. But both of them, up until about a month ago, said there was no crisis at the border. It was all a figment of Trump's imagination.
That's right.
And
yeah.
That was about it.
Yeah, that's about it. Thanks for the call, Mark. Yeah, that's about right. First, there's no crisis. Once we have to concede there's a crisis, Trump is causing it. But I'll tell you, I got one better for you. Thanks for bringing up Nicole Wallace and AM Joy, because now we can play a little game of one-upsmanship. Did you see Obama's former political affairs director, Patrick Gaspard, on This Week with Clinton Foundation donor Zero? You know what the real problem, or the real cause, I should say, of the crisis at the border is?
What is it?
Don't listen to me. Listen to Patrick Gaspard.
Patrick, on the other hand, Mexico has accelerated these agreements. They're putting them into place. They hadn't put them into place before. Isn't a win a win?
No, a win is not a win when he's falsely hyping a deal that was struck some months ago that we know is probably insufficient to the challenge. Let's be clear about what's happening here. I know Americans through the news media are focused on Mexico and this challenge, but this story is really not about Mexico. It's about migrants who are coming from Honduras, Salvador, and Guatemala, from the Northern Triangle, and they are a very different class of migrants than we saw in years past. You used to have lone Mexican men who would come, find work, send money back home. That's not what you have now. You have whole families that are coming as a consequence of pressures of climate shifts in the Northern Triangle.
It's climate change. Climate change is why they're coming. It's funny.
Of course.
It's funny.
I was just thinking about that.
The Guatemalan Minister of Governance, Enrique Degenhardt, didn't mention climate change. I guess he's not as informed about what's going on the ground in Guatemala as Patrick Gaspard. I mean, I'd say, is there anything climate change can't do? It causes storms. It causes the lack of severe storms. It causes droughts. It causes flooding.
Wildfires. It causes flooding.
It causes migratory behavior. It causes economic devastation. Is there anything that it's going to bring on an ice age? We're going to turn into a fireball. I mean, it's remarkable. Remarkable.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
If you maintain an industrial plant, you know your dust collection systems are a vital part of the operation of your plant. Without them, things can get dusty quick. And when your dust collection system malfunctions, the downtime can cost your plant money. Time to call the professionals at Vans Industrial for help.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, owner of Vans Industrial. At Vans, we work with many different types and sizes of dust collectors, from 1,000 CFM to 100,000 CFM. If your system needs housing repair, tube sheet, pulse valves, ductwork, or collection hoods, give us a call. Schedule an inspection today to keep things running smoothly and avoid costly downtime. And when you're ready for a new dust collector, we can design your system from the collection hoods to the stack for plants of all size applications.
Vans uses only the best and safest union-trained mechanics, insured at the highest level, to perform the job right. Call 833-VANS-IND. That's 833-VANS-IND. Or on the web at vansindustrial.com.
Hey, interested in refinancing your home? Then you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender, not your bank or online lender. Meet Lucy, widow. She talked to her bank and an online lender about cashing out $30,000 to pay off debt and renovate her bathroom. Both recommended Lucy refinance out of a rate in the mid-3s into a rate in the high 4s. Then Lucy called Team Hochberg, who analyzed her situation and recommended she secure a Republic Bank HELOC instead of refinancing because it was in her financial best interest. Let's review. Lucy's bank and an online lender recommended Lucy refinance so that she could make a quick buck. They could. Team Hochberg recommended Lucy secure a Republic Bank HELOC because that was Lucy's best option. Now, if you want to work with a trusted local lender who looks out for your financial best interest, call Team Hochberg now. 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Team Hochberg helped me and thousands of AM 560 listeners, but they can't help you if you don't call. 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. Homeside Financial, Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee, MB 676-1019, NMLS 112-4061.
When the world is watching and you need your logo perfectly printed on promotional items, you need the ultimate guarantee. You need certainty. To know for certain it'll be right the first time, on the right items, at a great price. You need the promotional product experts at 4imprint. Because as soon as something has your logo on it, it matters to you, your customers, your coworkers, and to us. From pens and caps to hot tech and popular brands, 4imprint's wide selection always changes to keep up with the latest trends. But there is one thing we've delivered for over 30 years that's timeless: certainty. Because the world is certainly watching. Explore thousands of promotional products at 4imprint.com. That's the number 4imprint.com. 4imprint. For certain.
Hey, you probably have an accountant to audit your business's financial matters on a regular basis, to keep things in order and make sure everything's okay in the money department. That's important. Also important, though, is your company's computer data. If you lost that, you'd be done, out of business. Here's a not-so-fun fact. 60% of all businesses fail within 6 months when a catastrophic loss of data occurs. So stop playing Russian roulette with your network and data. Turn to the pros, our good friends over there at Turnkey IT, for a free security audit. It's a $600 service. They'll do it free. And in just the few minutes it takes to scan your network and computer systems thoroughly, you will know if you're open and vulnerable to intrusions and hackers. It's important stuff. So leave the technical stuff to the pros so you can focus on the important things. Visit turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
Listen to podcasts of Joe Walsh and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson, and I've got a quick, cost-effective way to protect and grow the value of your home this summer. Call the professionals at CertaPro Painters for interior and exterior painting. They painted the first floor of my home last year, and every time someone walks in, they always say, gosh, your house looks so much bigger. That's because one of their color specialists helped me pick out the perfect color. So boost your curb appeal this summer with a fresh coat of paint while protecting it from the heat, storms, and insects. Be proud to show off your house to your friends and neighbors. Their summer calendar has a few spots available, so secure yours now. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting experts. You can schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Get a free estimate at CertaPro.com or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, since we learned from an Obama apparatchik that climate change is the real cause of the migratory crisis at the southern border, forcing Central Americans up through Mexico to our border. Let's stick on the topic. Did you see this?
What?
Glacier National Park. The National Park Service has quietly removed all the signs put up by the Obama administration that told visitors to Glacier National Park that the glaciers would all be gone by the year 2020 due to global warming, because it's 2019 and the glaciers are not only still there, they've been growing.
Oh.
Its visitor center had a sign posted by the Obama administration, the propaganda, the big lies, because that was the line that they were pushing. This is some research over at hotair.com. A startling example is seen at the Jackson Glacier overlook on Going to the Sun Road. The government has erected a sign with two photos, the glacier in 1911 and the glacier in 2009. The display shows the Jackson Glacier melting away to perhaps 10 to 20% of its 1911 size. But visitors to the marker in 2018 are able to look up above in the distance and see that the Jackson Glacier has grown significantly since 2009, maybe as much as 30%. So this is not to say that the planet hasn't warmed over the last 200 years, about 1 degree Fahrenheit, that 6-7 billion people on the planet perhaps have some impact, though it's not clear exactly what it is. And it certainly isn't clear what should be done about it, not to mention there's no basis for the deindustrialization proposed by AOC's GND and the socialists.
But that's scary that, you have President Obama, he believed the predictions and pushed the left's climate change hypothesis and put it on a sign.
This evidence will not stop them. This evidence will not stop them. This is religion. This is religion to the left. Everything is an article of faith. So if you tell me, well, what about this and what about that, I still believe. I still believe, because I don't believe in a higher being, so I have to believe in myself as a God who is here to save the planet from, the climate deniers, the heathens, the non-believers. This is how Michael Crichton described it 15 years ago, and he was spot on. Dan in Libertyville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan, I got to tell you, I want to thank you and Amy for bringing a great show. I was out of state over the weekend, and I couldn't find a good talk show to listen to that would actually bring forth the facts, things like hearing about the Democrats and their confusion in how to do anything, their lack of leadership. You bring such a concise and eloquent way of bringing the facts, which can sometimes be confusing when you're working with someone like John Dean and that nonsense, and lay it on the table that's very easy for us to all consume and go, yeah. For me, listening to the Democrats, I feel like if a person's voting for the Democrats and feels that they're their party, it's sort of like getting into a cab with a drunk Uber driver. You don't know where you're going to end up.
Thanks for the call, Dan. Appreciate it, and the kind words. Appreciate that as well.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, are Chicago police sitting on their hands because Lori Lightfoot is mayor? But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Police are investigating a package left outside a Wheaton church. 3 are charged with animal cruelty in Fair Oaks Farms case. A body found in a Chicago river ID'd as a missing man. Nationals demolish the White Sox. WIND Chicago News Time. It's 6.
House Democrats might take their fight to court. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The day after hearing from John Dean, Nixon's former counsel, a Trump critic who's making parallels to Watergate and obstruction of justice.
Special Counsel Mueller has provided this committee
with a roadmap.
With the top Republican on the Judiciary Committee, Doug Collins said,
This committee is now hearing from the 70s, and they want their star witness back.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, the full House will vote on resolutions allowing Democrats to go to court to enforce subpoenas on Attorney General William Barr and former White House counsel Don McGahn. House Judiciary Committee Chair Jerry Nadler putting off a criminal contempt resolution after he struck a deal with the Justice Department over the Mueller report.
I am pleased that we have reached an agreement to review at least some of the evidence underlying the Mueller report.
In a statement praising the agreement, the Department of Justice said it remains committed to appropriately accommodating Congress's legitimate interests related to the special counsel's investigation. Dave?
Rachel, President Trump will go to Iowa today to focus on ethanol and gather with Republicans. Joe Biden will also be in the state, the frontrunner in the Democratic 2020 race.
The two aren't expected to encounter each other physically, but they may be talking about each other. President Trump's criticized Biden on Twitter nearly 40 times since March. And at a recent Houston fundraiser, Biden had said he would not get down in the mud wrestling, but later he said of the president, "We all know this guy doesn't know anything."
Fox's Jill Nato, a sheriff's deputy in critical condition in Los Angeles County after being shot in the head at a Jack in the Box restaurant.
When I heard a loud bang, I didn't know what it was at first, I was surprised. I see customers running everywhere like crazy, fleeing. That's when I go and lean over and check, and I see the body on the ground.
The deputy was off duty, not in uniform. The gunman drove away. Retired baseball all-star David Ortiz back in Boston on a medical flight provided by his old Red Sox team. Ortiz was shot Sunday night in the Dominican Republic, needed his gallbladder and some of his intestines surgically removed. He's expected to recover. This is Fox News.
Sunshine, blue skies, 58 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. This morning, Judge John Robert Blakely is expected to decide the fate of a project that could alter the South Side. Summary judgment on a lawsuit challenging the location of the Obama Presidential Center filed by a park advocacy group against the city and the Chicago Park District should be ruled on today. The newborn daughter of the suburban Crystal Lake woman accused of killing her 5-year-old son will remain in protective custody. Joanne Cunningham gave birth to the child May 31st. While in jail, Cunningham and her ex-boyfriend, Andrew Friend Sr., face murder charges in the death of their son, AJ. Police are trying to find out who left a suspicious package outside of a church in Wheaton. Authorities say the bomb squad was called out last night to St. Joseph Orthodox Church. The package appeared to have been an electronic doorbell sealed in a large box. Off-duty Chicago police officer has been charged with DUI and reckless homicide after police said he crashed into a Southside restaurant, killing a woman, injuring another on Sunday. Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson.
This is preliminary information, of course, but he has been charged. He blew, I believe it was a 0.83, which is just over the legal limit.
Terrence Finley is set to appear in bond court a little later today. Chicago sports, Rockies over the Cubs 6-5. Nationals rout the White Sox 12-1, and mandatory minicamp for the Bears kicks off today at Hallis Hall. The news, a service of Credit Karma. Get your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. Download the Credit Karma app now. Credit Karma, here's to progress. 6:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity sees Mueller's statement as nonsense.
So he tries to go out there and basically hang a cloud over President Trump, and he thinks he's being skillful in what he is doing here, and it ends up just backfiring and blowing up in his face.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
All money managers might seem the same, but while some give their clients cookie-cutter portfolios, Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to your goals and needs. Some only call when they have something to sell. Fisher calls regularly, so you stay informed. And while some advisors are happy to earn commissions whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come from other money managers. So if you're in or nearing retirement, Talk with us and find out why investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments. Clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson, and I've got a quick, cost-effective way to protect and grow the value of your home this summer. Call the professionals at CertaPro Painters for interior and exterior painting. They painted the first floor of my home last year, and every time someone walks in, they always say, gosh, your house looks so much bigger. That's because one of their color specialists helped me pick out the perfect color. So boost your curb appeal this summer with a fresh coat of paint while protecting it from the heat, storms, and insects. Be proud to show off your house to your friends and neighbors. Their summer calendar has a few spots available, so secure yours now. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting experts. You can schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com, that's Certa with the C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Get a free estimate at CertaPro.com or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
Get your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. Download the Credit Karma app now. Credit Karma. Here's to progress.
It is 6:06 in the AM 560 traffic center. The latest with Jim Talamonte.
Northbound I-55 traffic is stop and go from 126 to the 453 where there's a crash on the right shoulder. More delays kick in around the Veterans Memorial Tollways. We're looking at 53 minutes from 355 to Lakeshore Drive. There's a crash at Damon in the left lane. Kennedy, 24 minutes O'Hare to downtown, outbound 22. The Eisenhower's heavy Manheim to Harlem, 34 minutes, 390 to downtown, outbound 31. Ryan, 26 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 16 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop 420. The Adams Tollway has cleared up. The Indiana Toll Road is heavy westbound, 4 I-65 to Grant due to construction. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. From our 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, here's our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Sunny skies. It'll be pleasant today with a high 78. Clouds increase tonight, low 62. Cloudy and cool, shower and thunderstorm tomorrow, the high 68. Clouds on Thursday morning, sun by the afternoon, the high 67. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
58 at O'Hare, 61, and sunshine along the lakefront. Your next news update is at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Alpha Wealth Group, bringing the trilogy of estate, tax, and investment planning together. Visit alphawealthgroup.com for a free report.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So this past weekend, 3 murdered, more than 30 shot in Chicago. So that brings 2 weekend total under Lori the Lightfoot as mayor to 13 and more than 82, 13 murdered, more than 82 shot and wounded. So how's the new sheriff in town doing?
Well, she made a startling revelation she was on a Chicago cable TV called Cans TV and pretty much said that police are sitting on their hands because she's mayor.
But there were rumors floating around about, and I didn't verify this, but rumors floating around that they were telling their officers, don't do anything, don't over Memorial Day weekend, don't intercede. If you see some criminal activity, just lay back, do nothing. I hope to God that wasn't true, because man, oh man, if that happened, there's going to be a reckoning.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line, is the problem in Chicago, the Chicago cops. They're either abusers on the one hand or they're derelicts on the other? What do you think? I tell you, it's a remarkable statement to make, and here's why it's remarkable. I've heard rumors. I haven't confirmed any of them. I'm going to repeat these rumors and suggest if that happened, then, boy, heads are going to roll. You're going to repeat rumors that you've heard unverified about somebody telling somebody to stand down and not do their job. This is reminiscent of the previous mayor's famous fetal position incantation when talking about Chicago police. It's interesting because is that the problem? Just in terms of the evidence that we have in possession. Is that the problem in Chicago, police not doing their job?
I didn't see that over Memorial Day weekend, and I was at the lakefront for a soccer tournament. I saw police actively working. I saw them, interacting with community members. They weren't sitting in their car. They weren't on a bench eating donuts. They weren't doing any of that. So, but to quote rumors and to perpetuate this stereotype that Chicago police aren't doing their jobs because union brass told them not to do anything, not to engage.
She's a tough hombre. That's what we're supposed to believe? Straight talker, no nonsense. Paradigm shift coming with Lori the Lightfoot. Is it?
She said also that she wants to work with police, Dan. She wants to have a relationship.
The notion that the FOP is going to live in this fantasy world where they are absolutely adamantly against anything that looks like reform, even when it's in the best interest of their members. That's not going to be a reality that's going to exist in at least as long as I'm mayor of the city. I'd love for them to partner with us. I think there's a lot of things that we actually could agree on.
And she's doubling down. I mean, after the television interview, people asked her about this, and she said, all we can say about this is that the mayor heard it from someone who's in a position to know, and she heard it from a law enforcement source. That's Lori Lightfoot's.
So that's the way she thinks she's going to have a relationship with the police department, by publicly rumor mongering and suggesting writ large, because a source said something about someone, that's somehow reflective of 13,000 police officers. You think that's judicious?
Kevin Graham, FOP president, said it's ridiculous. I'm unaware of anyone telling anyone not to do their job.
Is that the insightful, evidence-based former federal prosecutor? Going where the evidence leads, collecting the evidence before making pronouncements. And by the way, FOP is living in a fantasy land. Is that right? There are things that we can agree on. Okay, what are they? I love the speaking in vague generalities, sort of the trite signaling of being open-minded and collaborative. I'm sorry, be specific.
Well, said...
You're the one, Lori, who fomented and abided the preposterous consent agreement, which characterized the entire Chicago Police Department as a hopelessly, inherently racist organization. That's you. You were part of that cabal, along with Loretta Lynch and the Obama Justice Department. So is that the case? How about some specific questions from the Chicago Press Corps as to just exactly what Lori Lightfoot believes is the problem and what specifically she aims to do in conjunction with the police department to address the problems that she sees within the police department and the problems that we all see on the streets of Chicago. How about some specifics rather than letting Lori the Lightfoot get away with these vague platitudes?
Well, she did say that this happened when Mayor Emanuel was in power back Labor Day of 2016.
Do you have any reason to believe that happened?
Well, it happened 2 years ago, in almost 3 years ago, leading into Labor Day in 2016, when we had this catastrophic level of violence. The then administration, which there are some carryovers from that, put out a memo telling officers that they should not show up for work, that they shouldn't do their job, that they shouldn't be the police.
That's a mischaracterization of what happened. It's in response, again, to the civilian political leadership not having the backs of police officers, which is why, for example, stops declined precipitously in the last term of Tiny Dancer. Because all I see is, as a police officer on the street, is exposure. And I don't have anybody that is providing a backstop if I am proactive in my policing. We have the opposite of the broken windows approach in Chicago. We're doing 180 degrees the opposite, and Lori Lightfoot seems to be endorsing that. Oh, and it's the classic politician's position. I want you to do your job so bad things don't happen. I'm not going to back you to do your job to prevent bad things from happening. And if a bad thing happens at your hands, then I'm going to impugn the entire department, which is what Lori Lightfoot's done. That's what she did as part of Tiny Dancer's Star Chamber Commission. That's what she's doing now. Oh, by the way, Memorial Day weekend this past Memorial Day weekend?
Yeah.
We shared this last week, but let's repeat it. Because, again, if we had a Chicago press corps with any courage, due diligence, firing synapses, they would be more specific in the Q&A with Lori Lightfoot. Maybe we'll see if since she's such a tough hombre, if she's courageous enough to come back on this show, to be questioned like an adult, like the chief executive of the third largest city in America. 11 of the 19 individuals arrested by Chicago police over Memorial Day weekend were released within a couple of days. 7 of the individuals were previously convicted felons. 6 had prior gun offenses in their backgrounds, meaning Chicago police had arrested them and rearrested them, and then it did it again on Memorial Day weekend. So I'm sorry, who's not doing their job?
Lori Lightfoot should be working with Kim Fox and keeping these people behind bars.
Did we tell you the story of Antoine Smith? We did, and we'll tell you again. So repeat it. CWB Chicago has it, and Chicago police released it. Antoine Smith is a multiple-time gun felon. Last September, Chicago police SUV pulled up to him at a red light on the south side. Officer looked into Smith's car. He saw Smith looking back at him, pulling his T-shirt down to cover a gun in his waistband. Smith was on parole at the time after being released early from prison for his second gun felony. Cook County Judiciary, not just Kim Fox. Cops say they saw Smith throw the gun from his car. It was loaded when they recovered it. Other officers caught up with him in a foot chase. They say he was carrying about 8 grams of crack. Prosecutors charged Smith with a Class X felony, armed habitual criminal, Class X felony, armed violence with a weapon, felony manufacture, delivery of cocaine, and so forth. On March of this year, the state dropped the felony armed habitual criminal charge. Smith went free by posting a $6,000 bond, 10% of the bail that was set by the judge. 2 months later, May of this year, Smith murdered a 15-year-old girl in a drive-by shooting. 2-time felon released early, arrested again, bonded out until he kills a 15-year-old girl. And you want to is that the Chicago police's fault, Antoine Smith? Does Lori Lightfoot have an answer to that question? No, because nobody asks it. Marvin in Gurnee, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. That's what my comment was going to be, is that no one has the policeman's back. You know, the foot soldiers are out in the street trying to keep everyone safe and protected. They do their job, and they're the first ones to get their the finger pointed at them. And now this woman here, who's supposed to be her answer for all the problems, she's a triple threat. We all know what that meant.
Yeah.
She has no answers, and she's pointing the finger at him before anything happens. I mean, you couldn't write this. A Hollywood writer couldn't write this, the absurdity of the situation in the city of Chicago.
Thanks, Marvin. John on the south side. Hey, John.
Every 10 years, this has been going on for every day, every year. It's the same thing. Police aren't stopping doing their job. They don't let them do their job. And then, like you said, the judges let them out. When somebody takes them and holds them accountable and they have to let them get sued, the prosecutors, the judges, then it'll change. Up until then, it's going to be the wild, wild west.
Thanks, John.
It's just such a slap on the face for every Chicago police officer out there, what she said. And she's giving, breathing life into rumors. You never say rumor. You're the leader of Chicago. You don't speak about rumors. Nobody does. We don't do that here on this radio station. You don't do it on TV. Rumors? I heard rumors. Attribution, Lori Lightfoot.
You know what, Lori?
Who's your source?
Well, first of all, not even if there was a problem, I wouldn't advertise that. That's idiotic. Lori Lightfoot has a very curious way of asking for help. Mm-hmm. She has a very curious way of developing a relationship with the Chicago Police Department, since that is the top priority, or at least it should be, for the civilian political leadership of the city. I mean, unless you just don't care about the carnage. I mean, it's mostly minorities, right? Mostly African-American men as perpetrators and victims. I mean, what? You got African-American leadership of the city, county, all Democrats, supported overwhelmingly by minorities. What's the problem here? Candace in Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin.
Good morning, Dan. I don't think that she heard any rumors. She learned from the best at lying, which is Obama. So she's creating a straw man so then she can fake fight the straw man. My second point is, I think, by the way, you were great on Prager yesterday.
Thank you.
And I hope Dennis has you on to do a video about this, what you call Django language of the progressives, and you need to break it down and use Lori Lightfoot as an example in your video. It would be so brilliant.
All right. Thank you, Candace. Appreciate that. Jimmy on the Kennedy.
Yeah, it goes either further than that. George Soros is funding candidates around the U.S. for state's attorney's office. Philadelphia is an example. It's gone down the toilet hole even more. Kim Foxx is one of those candidates, and it's under the guise of criminal reform. So they want to get in through the back door, and what they do, Soros, he's doing this around the country. He's funding all these liberal candidates with all his money trying to sway an election, and this is what you get. You get the cops arresting people, and then the next day, this guy, who you just referred to that killed this 15-year-old girl, is back on the streets. 3-time convicted felon, armed violence. Boom, on the street, $60,000 bond. Crazy, but it's George Soros money funding state's attorneys around the U.S.
Thanks for the call, Jimmy. Not just George Soros' money. It's also Bloomberg's money. Oh, yeah. Gun banner. Every town for gun safety, that. And it'll and now with his Beyond Carbon initiative, if you say the planet's going to implode upon itself in 12 years, he'll get some more money. Tom on the Northwest Side.
Good morning.
Morning.
The only difference between the City of Chicago, the Chicago Police Department, and the Titanic is that the Titanic had a band.
Okay. Thanks for the call, Tom.
Played him on the way out. The band did.
Text from an attorney friend of mine. The state's attorney's office has added a third shift to felony review. Now there's an additional lawyer to decline felony charges. Hi-yo.
Hey.
It's, you laugh to keep from pulling your hair out. Yep. Tom in Deer Park.
They have such a hard job, the cops, and they're getting it from all sides. And for the many citizens that cannot or do not have a concealed carry, you're kind of at the whims and mercies of the criminal element, whether it's in, Jeff Park or on the south and the west sides. And I think the very people that Lori Lightfoot is trying to appeal to with those comments are the very ones at the spearhead of the majority of the mayhem. So it's kind of bizarre why she would say it. I don't see absolutely one reason why she would make that public statement.
Maybe it's a cry
Thanks,
for
Tom.
help. I mean, who knows?
It's not a cry for help. It's the opposite. It's a, I'm in charge. Everything's under control. I'm going to crack some skulls. Okay, tough guy. We'll see. Mike on the north side.
Good morning, Dan. I'm going to take the opposite point of view of you. I'm going to blame the police department, and I'll tell you why. How many of the current exempt personnel, chiefs, deputy superintendents, deputy chiefs, have ever passed, a promotional exam? You know, this last lieutenant's promotional exam was rigged for the boss's wives. Do you remember the Clint Eastwood movie, Dirty Harry, years ago, where he sat in on a promotional exam and he said, tell me about your latest felony arrest. I've never made one. Tell me about your latest misdemeanor arrest. I've never made one. They're promoting people who have been house mouses, who are political, who have hidden from the streets for years. How can you lead if you've never policed? That's the problem. The politicians, you want to put the politicians and the patronage workers in charge of streets and sand? Fine. But when you put them in charge of the police department and the fire department and the state's attorney's office, then you're going to have problems. And this is what we have.
Yeah.
Thank you, Democrats.
Yeah. Okay, Mike. Thanks for the call. Look, I mean, to defend the police and to criticize Lori Lightfoot's pronouncements is not to say there's no issues with the Chicago Police Department. Any public organization, any organization with 13,000 employees, there's going to be problems. And with the job police have to do, there's going to be problems. Are there bad actors in the police department? Most certainly. The bad judgment calls made? Of course there are. So that's why I said with Lori Lightfoot, you want to talk about reform, be specific. Because if the reform is making sure police officers ask a person what pronoun that the officer should use in referring to them before arresting them, that's not a reform that is particularly compelling to me. If it's a reform with respect to, I don't know, the quality of the senior leadership of the department, the credentials of the senior leadership of the department, if that is an issue, and I don't know whether it is or not. But if it is an issue, fine. That's something that's sensible. This is why spare me the fortune cookie responses to the carnage on the streets of Chicago. Be specific about what reforms are going to be charted, the basis for them, and what the outcome should look like, and the time horizon we can expect for that outcome. I don't think that's too much to ask.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
When you're insured by Mag Mutual, you get more than just medical professional liability protection. You get partnership. Mag Mutual is your partner when it comes to safeguarding patients, physicians, and healthcare teams. Everything they do is focused on protecting and supporting you in the practice of medicine. From helping you save money to mitigating your risk, Mag Mutual is your single source for customized service and support. Their promise to protect includes comprehensive insurance solutions for the practice, business, and regulation of medicine, expert guidance, an extensive resource library, and complimentary access to up-to-date and evidence-based clinical decision support resource. Mag Mutual is committed to your success. You can stay focused on your patients knowing Mag Mutual is your partner. Visit them on the web at magmutual.com.
For more information about Mag Mutual in Illinois, please contact Mike Blaum at Medical Risk Services at 630-821-6002 or by email at mblaum@medrisk1.com. Visit their website at medrisk1.com.
A software engineer, test automation, is needed in Naperville, Illinois to modify software to correct errors, adapt hardware, and improve performance. Develop and direct system testing and validation, programming and documentation. Design system and obtain info on project limits and capabilities, performance requirements, and interfaces. Predict and measure outcomes. Store, retrieve, and manipulate data. Consult customers regarding system design and maintenance. Supervise programmers, technologists, technicians, engineering, and scientific personnel. Coordinate system installation and monitor functioning. Obtain and evaluate reporting formats, costs, and security needs. MS in CS, engineering, IT, or related. BS or foreign equivalent with 5 years of related IT experience in lieu of education requirements. Will accept any suitable combination of education, training, or experience. Frequent travel and relocation may be required. Multiple openings. Send resume to REF100, HR Director, SR International Incorporated. 2272 West 95th Street, Suite 320, Naperville, Illinois, 60564. Equal Opportunity Employer.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Sexualizing children and banning the family. I mean, it is Pride Month at 6:36.
And is this state big enough for the two of them? Biden, Trump, both campaigning today in the state of Iowa. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Blue skies and sunshine. 6:30 on AM 560, The Answer. Local, state, and federal investigators descending on Midtown Manhattan today. They're searching for the cause of Monday's deadly helicopter crash that killed the pilot after he crashed his craft into the roof of a building in Midtown. Former U.S. Attorney Barbara McQuade was a guest and provided testimony before the U.S. House yesterday on the Mueller report, showing in her mind beyond a reasonable doubt that President Trump broke the law. McQuade was testifying before the Judiciary Committee.
The conduct described in the report constitutes multiple crimes of obstruction of justice. It's supported by evidence of guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, and I'm confident that if anyone other than a sitting president committed this conduct, that person would be charged with crimes.
The former U.S. attorney testified for partisan Democrats. She's from the was from the Eastern District of Michigan, and she says the conduct described created a national security risk. A teenage surfer is recovering from a shark bite at Ocean Isle Beach in North Carolina. The attack happened yesterday afternoon. The 19-year-old bit on the right foot. California Senator Kamala Harris polling fifth of Democratic presidential hopefuls in a new Iowa poll. She was at a coffee shop in Dubuque yesterday.
I am completely, from the day one, committed to Iowa, to the people of Iowa, to being here, to listening as much as I talk, and that's why we have been putting the kind of staff that we have on the ground from day one here, and it's why I'm here right now.
Poll from the Des Moines Register and CNN has Harris at 7%. Former VP Joe Biden in Iowa today, leading at 24%. Congressman Eric Swalwell in that poll, 0%. This morning, Judge Robert John Blakely is expected to decide the fate of a project that could alter the South Side. Summary judgment on the lawsuit challenging the location of the Obama Presidential Center filed by a park advocacy group against the city and park district should be ruled on today. Bail denied for a woman accused of stabbing her parents to death in Arlington Heights. Deborah Martin was charged with first-degree murder in the death of her parents, Ann and David Martin. Lawyers for accused kidnapper Brent Christensen are asking for the mental health records for the defendant's ex-girlfriend, referred to in documents as TB. Now, TB and Christensen were in a relationship at the time of the alleged kidnapping of a Chinese scholar. Court documents show TB worked with the FBI leading up to Christensen's arrest, secretly recording her conversations. The judge is set to rule on that matter. Rockies over the Cubs, 6-5. Nationals rout the White Sox 12-1, and it's mandatory minicamp week for the Bears at Hallis Hall. The news service of Credit Karma gets your truly free credit scores and free credit monitoring from Credit Karma today. Download the Credit Karma app now. Credit Karma, here's to progress. 6:33, and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
News, opinion, insight.
They broke the deal. They can't do that, so they'll be paying. We don't make the deal.
What happens next happens here.
The special counsel's finding is clear. Case closed.
That's just not a fact. The case is not closed.
These stories and more are changing by the minute. Check in 2, 3, 4 times each day for the latest.
If they do anything, it would be a very bad mistake.
This is AM 560. The Answer.
Want to keep your AC from conking out? At your local 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, we recommend an AC tune-up, ASAP. It can help pinpoint potential problems and even extend the life of your air conditioning system. How's that for a comforting thought? Right now, get cool savings on an AC tune-up. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
If you're near retirement or thinking about retiring, you probably have a lot of questions. How do you make your savings or 401k last? How much should you take out and when? You may be ready for retirement, but are your finances? I'm Edward Jones financial advisor John Rossini in Bartlett. You've done what it takes to get there. Now it's time to make the most of retirement. Stop in at Stearns and Route 59 or call 630-372-2926. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC, 630-372-2926.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
You guys have a great product, and I tell my friends about it. And I was actually talking to a guy the other day who I just met, and he takes them. So you put out a great product, and I want to thank you and your organization.
I just started using it, and my family's already seen the difference. And I have health issues. I have fibromyalgia, asthma, but all of a sudden everything's clearing up, and I'm feeling better, and my skin's better. My brother said I look 10 years younger already.
Wow. Okay.
My vision is clear. I already see the difference. People are seeing the difference, and my doctor's seeing the difference.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. For a limited time, you can receive a 30% discount and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Chicago.
It is 6:36 in the AM 560 traffic center, and the latest on the morning commute with Jim Talamonte.
Eastbound I-80 traffic is all tied up past LaGrange Road to Ridgeland due to a crash on the left shoulder. Westbound, there's a brief Capers delay central to Ridgeland. Edens is running 22 minutes Lake Hook to Montrose. Kennedy O'Hare to downtown is 30 minutes, 11 from Montrose, 10 on the Express. Outbound 30 minutes to the airport. Eisenhower is running 34 minutes either way between 390 and downtown. Stevenson 49 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Farther south, there's a jam. Lockport Road be 453 after a collision. Ryan is 26 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 24 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop 420. Eastbound Adams Tollway, there's a road where jam busted. The old Des Plaines Oasis. Traffic, I'm Jim Talamonte. On AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center, sunny and pleasant today, high 78. Increasing clouds overnight, lows 62, and I hate to bring it up, but showers and thunderstorms tomorrow, high 68. It's in the forecast. 58 right now at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Watch today's show live right now on the Income Store live video stream at 560theanswer.com.
When you've got questions, he always has an answer. It's Sean Hannity this afternoon at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Yeah, a little jazzy music. It is LGBTQ, the rest of the alphabet, Pride Month. And
what are you doing different, Dan? What are you doing to celebrate?
Oh, I'm not doing anything. I'm just
keeping on.
Just observing some of the celebrations. Here's one. Madison, Wisconsin. Elementary school science teacher in Wisconsin recently recorded a coming out video for his students to introduce himself anew as neither male or female, but mix, MX.
Is that that's an option now? Mix? I've never heard of it. Okay.
Mark Vince Buzenbark is employed in the Madison, Wisconsin School District as a K-5 science teacher. Without the consent, knowledge, or permission of parents, he not only claimed he's female, but he presented a video and read a book about transgenderism in his science class. His new name is Vika Steele. He's taken his wife's last name. Her name is Stella. Steele.
Okay.
I'm going to take my wife Stella Steele's last name, and I'm going to use not Mr., not Miss, but Mix. So you can call me Mix Steele.
Okay.
And for my pronouns...
Oh, boy, here we go.
You better take out a pen and paper.
I know, I'm writing this down because I want to Google what this guy... Mika Steele, what's the name?
Mix Steele to you. And for my pronouns, I'm using they, them, and their. What do you think?
He did not tell the parents or the principal or anybody that he was going to show this coming out transitioning video?
Hey, these are kindergartners to 5th graders. They're old enough.
Kindergarten to what?
K5. K5 science teacher. Some of the
Ooh,
parents
I'm seeing
are
the video right now.
Some of the parents are upset. Over what? 312-642-5600 turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA turnkey.pro text line. Parents have reported that the Madison School District, the administrators there have brushed them off, refusing to meet with them or even discuss the situation. Yeah, I know. They're not your kids. What are you talking about? The school administrators in loco parentis, they control your children, not really just inside the school, the school walls anymore, I would suggest. But hey, this is their decision. They're in charge of your child's intellectual development. They know better than you do what's in the best interest of your child, what they should be exposed to, and at what age. Isn't that right, parents? 312-642-5600 turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA turnkey.pro text line.
They said that the teacher violated district policy. Well, then why isn't this teacher been relieved or of his or her duties?
It's a minor technicality. The important thing is celebrating his identity, her identity, their identity, everybody's identity, right? They don't care what happens in schools. As long as it's popular,
well, it's just
as long as it is something that is prescribed by those in charge of you, your family, your kids, hey, what's the problem? Fall in line.
Well, it's just selfish behavior on the teacher's behalf, because he said he did it because he wanted the students to know who I am and who I've become and who I am becoming.
And wouldn't you want your kindergartner or first or second grader to know who their teacher really is? To know who they really are? I mean, deep down, all their complications.
It's nobody's business.
They're equals. I mean, look, we put first and second graders in charge of choosing their gender identity.
Which is a mistake. Nobody should be deciding any gender identity till they're 18.
Come on. Kids are in charge. Kids are no responsibility other than to themselves. They're in charge of themselves, not the parents, except to the extent the government is in charge. There's a good book out.
It's Adult Games of Make-Believe. Somebody wrote.
Sophie Lewis, Full Surrogacy Now, Feminism Against Family. You want to dismantle capitalism? I sure do. I'm listening. Abolish the family. Her book links family abolition to a reconceptualization of pregnancy itself. The act of carrying a child to term, she insists, is work, and so is mothering. She gives an account of the material conditions, the biological and societal violence the gestators, or people who are carrying fetuses, have to bear. Every miscarriage is a work accident. Sophie Lewis, feminist. She says, look, the problem is capitalism. Feminists, I think, react to the realities of how babies are sometimes commodities and how sex has become alienated and for sale by blaming the people who are working in these industries when, in fact, the problem is capitalism. So how do we build a politics that bridges these two workplaces and builds solidarity between paid and unpaid gestators? Mom, unpaid. The surrogate, paid.
Right.
Sure. What we need to do, I'm glad you asked.
Yes, what do we need to do, Dan?
Denaturalize the mother-child bond. To do anything otherwise is to devalue the work. And that opens up the space for revolutionary politics, you see. We need to challenge the idea that babies belong to anyone.
Babies belong to their mother and father.
Excuse me.
They do.
Sophie Lewis, children should belong to no one but themselves. Yeah. And she has some specific policy ideas, too. She concedes the point. It sounds scary emotionally when some people hear the phrase family abolition. Well, what's scary about that? No. Sounds revolutionary, forward-thinking, progressive. When we say we want to abolish the family, we're not talking about taking away the few relationships and infrastructures of love. Infrastructures of love, that was my high school band.
Exactly. What kind of cover band was it?
Tribute band to Air Supply.
Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Not taking away the few relationships and infrastructures of love that we have in the world. The question that family abolition is interested in is whether that's good enough, whether that's a good thing, that there's such a scarcity involved. We know that the nuclear private household is where the overwhelming majority of abuse can happen. I think of the abuse when the nuclear family is not intact, but she doesn't. There's the whole question of what is it for? Training us to be workers, training us to be inhabitants of a binary, gendered, and racially stratified system, training us not to be queer. Who wants to live in that world? So one of the things that we can do is implement a sense that it's normal for us to think about babies as made by many people. Sophie Lewis, I would support policies that expand the number of people who are socially and legally recognized as central fundamental players in the constitution of a person. Obviously, this speaks to things like expanding hospital visitation rights and so on and so forth. Of course. And you know what else it speaks to? That mixed steel there in Madison is just like mommy or daddy. Or mommy and daddy. Or mommy and daddy and daddy.
No, it's just, honestly, it's confusing, about basic biology. For kids that are in kindergarten, they don't need to be subjected to that. That teacher should be fired. And instead, Fox News reached out to them. They have not said a word.
Look, I think you're...
Am I too?
I think you're a relic. You're from a bygone era that is no more, and resistance is futile. Look how much fun the kids are having. Okay. Here's some popular YouTube videos indoctrinating kids into LGBTQ.
Buddy, happy Pride! Who here knows what gay pride means?
It means where all the gay people, transgender, lesbian, bisexual people gather up and celebrate.
That's absolutely right. It's a celebration of sexual diversity. Are you gay allies?
Definitely.
Great answer. A gay icon is someone who's revered by the gay community.
Lady Gaga?
Yes. Anderson Cooper?
I might have heard of them.
I mean, everybody should aspire to grow up and be a gay icon.
I do.
That's what Pride Day is all about.
You're right. See you at Pride, everybody.
Yay! Have you met Desmond? But I know the research at Brown University suggesting that trans is in part a social contagion. Mm-hmm. But don't tell that to me or Desmond.
I was born in Pride Month in the year 2007. Gay pride means self-expression to me.
12 years old.
Hi, I'm Desmond is Amazing. I'm 10 years old, and I'm a drag kid, and I live in New York City, and I am an LGBTQ activist and advocate. I discovered that I wanted to drag when I watched the first episode of RuPaul's Drag Race. When I was 2, then I moved on to little dresses. Then I moved on to making outfits. I got my inspirations from designers like Alexander McQueen, Betsy Johnson, Comme des Garçons, Jean-Paul Gaultier, the Club Kids, their fashion and the makeup, not the bad things, the Blitz Kids of London. And if you wanted to drag, just start off with a little wig and some lip gloss and a little t-shirt and a little skirt and some heels or sneakers, whatever.
Yeah. He decided he was a drag kid at age 2. So, I mean, if you can decide that you're a drag kid...
Well, what parent of his is pushing that?
Hey, they belong to only themselves, the kids. If you can be a drag kid at age 2, then why can't you enjoy your grade school science teacher coming out and sharing a video and telling you a little story about his transition? Hey, it's a celebration, right?
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line.
Mike in Mokina, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, this gal that wrote this thing, she's late to the party. Hillary started with It Takes Community, and Elizabeth Warren and Obama. You didn't build that.
Right, you including your family. Yes, thanks for the call, Mike. Yeah. Pete in Montgomery.
Morning, Dan. Morning, Amy.
Morning.
Dan, congratulations on working with Dennis Prager. Your son is really good yesterday.
Thank you.
So I'm starting to wonder about this whole sexual identity as becoming the basis of our society. It seems to me that it's trying to take away self-esteem as an individual position. So a lot of men, most men, receive their self-esteem for the things they do, and women, from what I can gather, from the relationships they build.
Now it's who you do.
They're taking it away from the things that we do to the identity that we are, which then can be manipulated and redefined. So I'm starting to wonder exactly what the end goal is for this societal reshaping.
The end goal. The end goal.
What is the end goal?
The end goal is right here. It's Sophie Lewis's book. The end goal is the abolition of the family and the replacement of the family by the state. That's the end goal. It's always been the end goal of
the family.
The state is the family. That's right. Thanks for the call,
But,
comrade.
I mean, that person.
That's what this is.
Micah Steele. How could
Mixed
not getting
Steele to you.
Is it mixed Steele now?
don't-
God,
yeah.
I mean, you think I'd get it right?
You're being too familiar.
Well, the fact that they didn't get parental permission to have this subject matter, demonstrated in front of their kids. I sat down. Now you're going to call me this pronoun. I'm changing my name. It's all about me, 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 me. He doesn't care of the message that he's sending to the kids.
What? Self-esteem. Wait a second. Cartoon Network. We want to encourage everyone a happy Pride and encourage all our LGBTQ plus fans to stand proud all year long. Cartoon Network.
My gosh.
Look at the Cartoon Network propaganda online on social media.
Indoctrination at an early age.
If you learn nothing else from this show, and I'm happy to provide a reading list, understand one thing. The only bulwarks, true bulwarks, enduring bulwarks against state control, faith and family. You destroy those two institutions, and you are not going to live as a free person. Verlon on the south side.
This is atrocious. This is beyond destroying the family. This is designed to destroy the American culture. How do you know if you're going to be a drag kid at the age of 2, 3, and 5? You're not aware of your sexuality until you get to about 12 or 13. This is taught in the schools. I remember, I was so glad I was a hands-on parent, because I remember when my first two oldest daughters came home. They're 27 and 24 now. They came home and told me when they first started teaching gay history. I was like, what? I went up to the school and said, listen, I don't want this being taught to my kid. They're like, well, you got to take them out of public school then, put them in private school. But this will be taught to all of the kids for acceptance purposes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and thanks for the call, Verlon. And thanks for being specific with the wording. Acceptance, not tolerance, acceptance. You will abide, you will celebrate.
You will accept it, yes.
Text from Andy in Hinsdale. You're my gay icon. Thank you very much, Andy. I appreciate that. John on the south side.
This is like child abuse. They're just parroting what all these parents are saying. Parrot, parrot, parrot. It's just like when a mother, when somebody's getting divorced, the mother says, oh, the father's bad. It's the same thing here. I couldn't talk like those little kids, and I'm 47. They sound more educated than me. They're parroting everything their parents are telling them. Thank you.
Thanks for the call, John. Ken in Plainfield.
Yeah, I wouldn't even want my children at that age to know what their straight teachers were doing. Could you imagine what the school board's reaction would be if his film was "Welcome to my wife and my introduction to the B&D world or the S&M world"? That's the comparable thing. That wouldn't go over. Why do we allow this?
I mean, just come in, do your job, teach the children what you need to do, the curriculum, and don't push your own agenda on these young minds?
I want to know what makes mixed steel tick. What do you do on the weekends in your spare time? Tell me everything. Don't leave any details out.
So gross.
Robert in Oak Brook.
Once again, the greatest show on planet Earth, you guys.
Thank you.
On the Wisconsin River, up in Madison, there's a nudist beach. I think that should be their next field trip. Take them to the nudist beach, and there they can see why a 5'5" woman that weighs 250 pounds runs around naked, because no matter what you put on her, she's still 250. So, and this way they can see the different anatomies, and then they can go, woo-hoo-hoo, you know.
Yeah, thanks for the
there
call.
There you go. God bless the people up there in Wisconsin. Keep eating that cheese and bring them to the nudist camp. Y'all have a good evening now.
Thanks for the call, Robert. Yeah, I have a feeling way too many cheese curds have been consumed on that nudist beach.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The Lou Dobbs Financial Report is brought to you by Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Record hiring in April. Some shareholders want Hudson's Bay to go private, and the Tabasco sauce heir is named the new CEO of the company. Those stories next.
Are you a stock or options trader looking for real trading strategies that you can use immediately? Hi, my name is Scott Bauer, CEO of Prosper Trading Academy, and I'm on a mission to become the #1 options coach in America. I'm a former vice president at Goldman Sachs. I have over 25 years of options trading experience, and right now, I'm giving away my most famous options guide with over 20 unique options strategies that I use every day for free. You can't buy this guide anywhere. To claim your free options trading guide, simply call 855-892-2307 now and mention my name, Scott Bauer, and we will rush you the guide. Call 855-892-2307, and someone from my options team will help you get this guide in your inbox as quickly as possible. Call 855-892-2307 now and start learning to trade the right way. Call 855-892-2307. Prosper with options.
Stocks and options trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors.
The Labor Department reporting employers hired the most people on record during the month of April. Almost 6 million jobs were filled, the most ever since records were kept. The number of job openings unchanged, more evidence the job market is solid. Shareholders trying to convince Hudson's Bay, that owns retailers Saks Fifth Avenue and Lord & Taylor stores, to go private. The offer is contingent upon Hudson's Bay completing a $1.5 billion sale of the remaining half of its businesses in Europe. The company that makes Tabasco sauce, Louisiana's McIlhenny Company, has named Harold Osborne its new CEO. He's the great-great-grandson of the man who first invented Tabasco sauce. McIlhenny is one of America's oldest family-owned companies. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 o'clock and 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
Message and data rates may apply.
Ladies and gentlemen, this may be the last time you ever have to worry about hair loss. Because Bosley is the real deal. They're giving women and men their hair back permanently. Their real hair. All it takes to get started is a single text message. You'll get an absolutely free information kit and a free gift card when you text TRUST to 85850. Bosley will show you, for free, how great your hair could look. You'll also see, for free, why you're losing hair and how to get it back. Women and men all over the country trust Bosley because they're America's #1 hair restoration expert, ahead of the curve with the latest technology. And the best part? Bosley has permanent solutions to hair loss. You'll love what they'll do for your hair. So drop what you're doing long enough to send a text. Get your free information kit and gift card for $250 off by texting TRUST to 85850. Don't forget, that's TRUST to 85850.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
we're going to talk to reporter and now author Jim DeRogatis about his new book on R. Kelly, Soulless, the Case Against R. Kelly. That's at 7:07.
But first, let's hit the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
An off-duty CPD officer is charged in a deadly crash. A fan struck by a foul ball at a Sox game. WIND Chicago News Time is 7 o'clock.
All crimes were committed by the other side. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Trump just tweeted that, repeating his mantra, the greatest witch hunt of all time. This says the House plans to vote to allow the Judiciary Committee to go to court if necessary to enforce subpoenas on Attorney General Barr and former White House counsel Don McGahn, but House Democrats did get some of what they wanted.
The Justice Department agreeing to turn over some of the underlying evidence from the Mueller investigation, including files used to determine whether or not the president obstructed justice.
We have a responsibility to do this work.
In return for the files, Chairman Nadler says Democrats will hold off on a vote to hold Attorney General Barr in contempt of Congress.
That's Fox's Lauren Blanchard, a Republican congressman who sided with Democrats believing the president committed impeachable offenses. Justin Amash has left the Freedom Caucus, a group of conservatives in the House. Missouri's only abortion clinic will stay open for now by court order as the state reviews safety concerns at the clinic in what critics say is an attempt to shut it down. Missouri recently joined several states severely restricting or banning abortions. Maine is going the opposite direction. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has more live.
Dave, Maine Governor Janet Mills, a Democrat, signed a bill yesterday that allows medical professionals who are not doctors to perform abortions. Now, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, and certified nurse midwives can also perform them. California has a similar law, too. Now, critics of the expansion say they're concerned that some non-doctors lack the training to handle rare complications from abortion procedures. Dave.
Tanya, Iran has set free a U.S. permanent resident who's been jailed there since 2015, convicted as a spy. Lebanon secured Nizar Zaka's release at a time of increased tension between the U.S. and Iran. A sheriff's deputy's in critical condition in Los Angeles County, shot in the head at a Jack in the Box restaurant.
You know, the guy was just there on the ground, blood everywhere.
He was off duty, not in uniform. The gunman walked away, then drove off. This is Fox News.
Sunshine. 63 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer, and good morning. I'm Mike Scott. This morning, a federal judge is expected to decide the fate of a Southside project that could alter the parks on the South Side. A summary judgment on a lawsuit challenging the location of the Obama Presidential Center, filed by a park advocacy group against the city and park district, should be ruled on today. The newborn daughter of the suburban Crystal Lake woman accused of killing her 5-year-old son will remain in protective custody. Joanne Cunningham gave birth to the child May 31st while in jail. A McHenry County judge ordered 2 men yesterday to submit to paternity testing in an effort to identify who fathered the baby girl. An off-duty Chicago police officer has been charged with DUI and reckless homicide after police say he crashed into a Southside restaurant. Police Superintendent Eddie Johnson.
Of course, but he has been charged. He blew, I believe it was a 0.83, which is just over the legal limit.
Terrence Finley, 24, is set to appear in bond court later today. A woman is recovering after being struck by a foul ball during the White Sox Nationals game last night in Chicago. The fan was hit in the bottom of the 4th inning when Sox left fielder Eloy Jimenez fouled a ball down the left field line. Sox say the fan was alert and communicating, but was taken to the hospital for evaluation. Now, the White Sox in Guaranteed Rate Field has extended protective netting past the dugouts. Rockies 6-5 winners over the Cubs in Denver. Nationals rout the White Sox 12-1. Mandatory minicamp for the Bears kicks off today at Hallis Hall. The News is a service of Discover Home Equity Loans. Make home improvements or consolidate debt with a home equity loan from Discover Bank. NMLS ID 684042. Save with 0 application fees, 0 appraisal fees, and 0 cash due at closing. Learn more at discoverhomeequityloans.com. 7:04. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher exposes the impeachment strategy of the Democrats.
It kind of hit me. They might just want to hold the prospect of impeachment over his head for as long as they can, trying to do as much damage as they can to his standing. Maybe that's the play.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
All money managers might seem the same, but while some give their clients cookie-cutter portfolios, Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to your goals and needs. Some only call when they have something to sell. Fisher calls regularly, so you stay informed. And while some advisors are happy to earn commissions whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come from other money managers. So if you're in or nearing retirement, talk with us and find out why investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments. Clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
The company began when Windows 95 was still singing Start Me Up and Novell servers were in vogue. Always learning since the day the doors opened and consistently finding technological solutions for those they serve. They've been through more iterations of operating systems than one would care to remember. Constantly changing and evolving to stay best in technological breed for decades. People serving people and leaving technological footprints for nearly 25 years. They're not afraid of technology and embrace its ever-changing life cycle. They know IT, they live IT, and they want to be your information technology partner. From help desk to Office 365 to desktop support and cloud solutions, they've got you covered. Turnkey IT, to make your company better, stronger, and ready to compete and win. Turnkey.pro.
At Farmers Insurance, we know the sound of a perfect hot air balloon landing. And a less than perfect one. Seen it, covered it. Talk to Farmers.
We are Farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
7:07. Check on that morning ride to work in the AM 560 traffic center with Jim Talamonte.
Eastbound I-80 traffic is knotted up Chicago Street 30 and from LaGrange Road to Ridgeland. Crash on the left shoulder. Westbound at Stop and Go Cicero to Ridgeland. Eastbound 8094, there's a jam. Indianapolis Boulevard to Kennedy, there's a collision blocking 2 left lanes. Tri-State Tollway has northbound delays. Southwest Highway to the 83rd Street Toll. From the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis. Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway has roadwork delays. Busing to the Old Des Plaines Oasis. Hayden's 27 minutes. Lake Cook to the Junction. Kennedy 42 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. The Eisenhower's 55 minutes. 390 to downtown. Stevenson 53 minutes from 355. Ryan 31 minutes from 95th. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and meteorologist Steve Williams.
Sunshine, nice day today. High 78, increasing cloudiness tonight, low 62. Cloudy and cool, shower and thunderstorm tomorrow, the high 68. Clouds and sun for Thursday afternoon, the high 67. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
62 degrees and sunshine at O'Hare. Next news at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas, best beans, best roast, best coffee.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We've covered the case intermittently, the case against R. Kelly. You'll recall that when he was first arrested, his criminal defense attorney had a press conference. And in addition to, of course, denying the charges and telling us how R. Kelly is being unfairly treated and he would never do the things of which he's accused and so on and so forth, there was an exchange with Jim DeRogatis, who's been on the R. Kelly beat for some time, at that press conference. Here's how that went.
We have to look at what happened. I know on one of the cases, there are a number of interviews where the young lady says, I lied about how old I was. I lied to him about how old I was, and then recently said, oh no, I lied about lying about how old he was. We'll have to look at it.
Showed him the ID, the fake ID, then showed him the real ID. Don't misquote a victim, Mr. Greenberg. Don't misquote a victim. That's not what she said.
Well,
she initially lied to him, then she showed him a state ID. She was here today. Did you see her in tears while the charges were read?
So you have a book coming out, and
Yeah, it's
I
got
hope
facts in
you sell.
it.
I hope you sell lots of books.
I don't give a about selling a single book. I've talked to that woman, and I've talked to 47
What else is
others.
your question?
I'm not Mr. Avenatti, and I'm not you.
Okay, so let's try and keep it professional,
I mean,
and
look,
don't
you just called
don't
the victim
swear at
who
me.
cried in court a liar. You
Well,
just
just
called
because
the
they
victim.
cry doesn't make them truthful. And so we're going to look at the evidence, okay? We'll look at the
I
evidence,
was correcting
and
the
we'll
record of what you said.
we'll look
She
at the
admitted
evidence.
when
Let's
she
keep
lied.
it.
She admitted
Let's
when she
watch.
told
Let's
truth.
watch the swearing, okay?
I did. I'm sorry. You're upset.
No, let's not. Let's not
No.
watch the swearing. I like a press conference like that when you're dealing with, a professional prevaricator like Mr. Greenberg representing Mr. Kelly. And the book that was referenced, well, it's out now. It's called Soulless, The Case Against R. Kelly, written by Jim DeRogatis, co-host of Sound Opinions, contributor for The New Yorker, and associate professor of instruction at Columbia College. He's an author. He's a drummer. He's a miniaturist. Well, we're going to find out what that is.
Well, hello. What exactly is that?
And he joins us now. Jim, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Sure. Well, that was not my proudest moment with Greenberg.
I
But
get it.
It was
there
effective.
there is context. I had just been hugged by this young woman who Kelly picks up at the trial in 2008. When she is 15, they begin sexual contact when she is 16. She is one of the 4 victims in the current state of Illinois indictment. And this woman says, thank you. And it's like the courage that she had to speak out against this man who was the worst predator in the history of popular music, preying on the black communities of the South and West Side since 1991, the first documented underage sexual contact with a 15-year-old girl he picks up in her choir class. I was a little upset.
Yeah. And well, tell us how this. I mean, this all started because you worked at the Sun-Times, correct? And somebody sent you the tape. The infamous tape, or how did this go?
14 months after the first story, someone sent a fax and said, you compared Robert to Marvin Gaye. Marvin had his problems, but they're nothing like Robert's. Robert's problem, this goes back many years, is young girls. And, this is something that had long been whispered in the music community, in the black communities of Chicago. R. Kelly likes them young. All right. And I began to look into it with Abdon Palish at the Chicago Sun-Times. The first story was December 2000. It was already 9 years in the making. Victim number 1, 1991. He marries Aaliyah illegally when she is 15 in 1994. The first lawsuit is 1996. He settles it 1998. I felt like we were late on this story that everybody on the South and West sides knew and many were disgusted by. It sounds like exaggeration when I say if you talk to 2 out of 3 women in the black communities of Chicago, 2 out of 3 will have a story of him cruising Kenwood Academy or Whitney Young High School, the Evergreen Plaza shopping mall, the Rock and Roll McDonald's. It really is horrifying that this has happened in full view of the world while he sold 100 million albums, earned $250 million, opens the Winter Olympics in Utah in 2002. It's extraordinary.
It is extraordinary, and actually that's where I want to go because it's one of the obvious questions. You talk about him marrying Aaliyah when she is not of age, and it goes on for 2 decades, and so many people knew, and I'm not just talking about people in the neighborhoods, but people in law enforcement, people who are civilian political leaders. This was the ultimate charges were not a surprise. I mean, for goodness sakes, Dave Chappelle did a parody sketch about it. And so why did anybody take who was in a position to do so, take a legal interest in R. Kelly until the last year or so?
There really are 2 answers to that question. The first is he was a cash cow. Jive Records, one of the biggest record companies in the world, Britney Spears, NSYNC, the Backstreet Boys, and Kelly, earns $1 billion. Kelly merely earned $250 million. No one wanted to derail the money train. And number two, nobody cared about young black girls. To be clear, I am only amplifying what so many young black women have told me since 2000. Nobody matters less in our society than young black girls. If it had been one white victim from Winnetka, this would have been a different story.
Yeah. And how many more victims do you think are still out there? I mean, I watched the series.
I know the names of 48 women.
Oh, my gosh.
Whose lives he has seriously damaged or ruined because some of them attempted suicide after the sexual contact as a teenager ended. I don't think it's hyperbole to say that. I've seen the scars, mental and physical. It's so widespread, it's hard to wrap your mind around it. How did this happen? The churches failed, the courts failed, law enforcement failed, civil attorneys failed, journalism failed, in that no other newspapers, locally or nationally, picked it up. All the Sun-Times, we were left alone reporting this story for entirely too long. And when I say the churches failed, I mean the Reverend Jesse Jackson, on the day Kelly was indicted, with evidence of a 26-minute and 39-second video of him having sex with a 14-year-old, urinating in her mouth, said, I quote, "There are bigger problems in society than R. Kelly." And the Reverend James Meeks appeared on many television programs as his spiritual advisor. Operation Push, the Baptist power structure in Chicago, took money from Kelly. And he's later booked by the Black Congressional Caucus to do a fundraiser. And he's named the Grand Marshal of the Bud Billiken Parade to raise money for back-to-school supplies.
Right.
The community did not want to believe or stop this man.
Well, I just couldn't believe in 2002 at the Olympics. Because I was there, and he gave an interview to Marion Brooks, and then he went out and sang the opening ceremonies. I thought for sure they were going to yank him, and they didn't do it.
No, that's why it's unconscionable. I mean, the Sun-Times drops those stories. They get picked up by the Associated Press as the Chicago Sun-Times is reporting. And what we were reporting was Kelly has abused his position of wealth and fame to pursue illegal sexual contact with underage girls. Nobody forwarded the reporting. And, it really is, people talk about how does the Catholic priest, get away with what he's doing. And he's in this position of trust, and nobody wants to believe the worst. And, additionally with Kelly, and I understand this, I'm a pop music critic. I'm the co-host of Sound Opinions, on public radio. This was your high school graduation song, I Believe I Can Fly, or the prom theme, Step in the Name of Love, played at your wedding. Ignition has played at every backyard barbecue you've ever gone to. This music becomes part of your life, and you are reluctant to believe the worst of the man who created it. It's a problem that's going on now with Michael Jackson, but Kelly, it's always been there from day one, early 90s, through, I admit, his non-confessional released last year. He's never made a secret of it. He marries Aaliyah at 15. He's having sexual contact with this young girl, and he titles her album "Age Ain't Nothing But a Number."
Yeah,
that's 94.
Yeah.
It's never been in the shadows.
I mean, although with respect to Michael Jackson, a lot of scales falling from a lot of eyes after that Neverland documentary was released, and perhaps something along those lines needs to be done about R. Kelly. But it's interesting that you note about the unwillingness to believe the worst, even when it's in full display. And it reminds me of Ta-Nehisi Coates' piece back when he was at the Atlantic about Bill Cosby, when the allegations started coming out about Bill Cosby. And Ta-Nehisi Coates was sort of had a fit of self-reflection and said, you know what, I failed too in that instance, because I heard the stuff about Bill Cosby, but Bill Cosby was Mr. Huxtable to me. And so I didn't run the traps. I didn't do the due diligence I would normally do if it was a politician or somebody else of that sort about whom these allegations were being made. And it's sort of with the exception of you and Abdon, perhaps, it sort of seems like the same thing was at play here with R. Kelly.
Yeah, for sure. And then there's this other dark flip side that really concerns me as someone who spent his life chronicling this art form. Is there something about transgression that attracts people to certain artists. What am I talking about? You know, there are Charles Manson songs streaming on Spotify. They are awful. You know, Manson could not start a musical career, so he went into the guru murderer business, which is horrifying. You know, why are those there? There's no reason to listen to them except if you're drawn to the evil that they represent. And I think, you know, the amount of social media hatred that the mute R. Kelly activists are getting, that the brave women who've spoken out are getting, that I'm getting, and I can take care of myself. I don't care. I feel for those women. It is now no longer a question of, do we believe this? Is this a slur against a black superstar? Is it a racist attack? Which I never understood, because the victims are almost all black, and there's one brave Puerto Rican girl. You know, it is now, we know and we don't care. And to me, that's like looking at the hatred in the face of those absurd white boys marching with Home Depot tiki torches, hating black people and gay people and Jewish people marching in Charlottesville. It's a raw, evil hatred, you know, that, you know, you hate to think is connected to the power of this art form that I believe can ultimately uplift us, you know.
So, yeah. Well, he has an upcoming trial. Do you think this time he's going to get nailed? I mean, that this time he'll actually spend time in prison and never see the light of day?
The Illinois indictments only scratched the surface. The grand jury is sitting on the federal investigation by the FBI, the IRS, and the Department of Homeland Security. The federal indictments are coming within weeks. Those encompass 30 years of sex trafficking, obstruction of justice, tax evasion, and violations of the Mann Act that brought Chuck Berry down, transporting teenagers for sex across state lines. I think that that's going to be a case that actually shows the scope, which is what I tried to do in my book. Here are 30 years of this man and every system in Chicago failing to protect these young black girls.
Do you believe, you know, he's sort of crying poor in court. Do you believe that he has frittered away $100 million, $200 million?
No. I believe he is legitimately, when he sings "I am a broke blank legend," he is, because, you know, I mean, it took 6.5 years to go to trial in 2002. He's not acquitted till 2008. There was the top legal defense team in Chicago, $650 an hour, 4 attorneys. There are numerous settlements to underage girls, and you know, he has spent that $250 million keeping himself Teflon, and now I think that the justice is only beginning to come because he's broke. If he was as wealthy as he was in 2008, I don't think we'd see him getting this kind of scrutiny, which is also just, I mean, you know, that's just a horrifying thought. Really, it all comes down to money.
Yeah, and then what about, remember he said he had concerts in Dubai, and then they proved that there was nothing lined up?
You have to realize Kelly is a serial liar. One of the things that people have been tweeting about that they picked up in my book, you know, he settles the first lawsuit by an underage girl. She was 15. It began in 1991. That lawsuit settled in 1998. He pays her $250,000. Then he sues his homeowner's insurance company to get them to pay. They refused. They said, "What, are you kidding? This is a settlement for underage sex." And he appeals. And the appellate court says, "What, are you crazy?" I mean, think about that kind of hubris and also stupidity. You know what I mean? You know, it's like the tree falls on your house, you get the homeowner's claim. But, you know, you're having sex with 15-year-olds and you want your insurance company to pay for it?
Yeah,
I mean, this is documented. You know, so people are saying, well, you know, liar, hater, all this stuff. You know, I mean, in 19 years of reporting on Kelly and his behavior, there has not been a single correction, clarification, retraction, much less a lawsuit. You know, so when Mr. Greenberg stands at the podium, one of his defense lawyers, and says, all of these women are lying, well, you know, no. First of all, it's impossible for 48 women to all tell the same lie. And this is what people said about Cosby. You know, it was only when those 24 women brave enough to put their faces on the cover of New York Magazine, and you look at that and you say, my God, I know these people. They can't all be lying. But the difference here is race. Many of Cosby's victims were white, the majority. And Kelly has always preyed on the most vulnerable in society. Young black girls no one was willing to believe.
Yeah, I mean, Kelly clearly is pathological. I'm no a psychiatrist, but you see that playing out as he's starting to crack up with interviews like he did with Gayle King. I don't think that affords him well if he thinks he's going to, get out of this by winning over public opinion.
Well, he thought that was a good performance, I guess, from inside his camp.
Well,
he wanted to show the passion, the hurt, of being wrongly accused, crucified, like they crucified our Lord. He accomplished what he wanted to accomplish. But I think people are beginning to see, just how insane this story really is. He got out of jail. After he was indicted, spent 3 nights in jail before he was able to raise the bail money, and he went to the Rock and Roll McDonald's on Clark Street.
Yeah, and then to Biggs.
And this is where, at the Rock and Roll McDonald's in 1998, he picked up a 16-year-old after her high school prom. Nice. He returns to the scene of his crimes, and he consistently, cruised Kenwood Academy. He did 1 year there before he was expelled for not being able to read or write. And, it's pathological. He's been returning to the same places in Chicago since 1991. And it's just horrifying. But, we also have the serial killer that is only beginning to come to light, of dozens of young black girls, right? I mean, what is it about the South and West Sides that they are not equal to the rest of this city that I love but also hate?
It's a topic we cover routinely every Memorial Day weekend and, frankly, every weekend in the summer in Chicago. I hear you. He is Jim DeRogatis, co-host of Sound Opinions. He's a contributor to The New Yorker. He's an associate professor of instruction at Columbia College. And the book on R. Kelly, 2 decades worth of following R. Kelly in this case, which, as you just heard, is coming to trial both at the local level as well as probably the federal level. The book is Soulless, The Case Against R. Kelly. Jim, thanks for joining us, and good luck with the book.
Well, thank you, and I'll be at the Chicago Humanities Fest on Thursday with the Mute R. Kelly.
Oh, okay,
it took two women from Atlanta.
Oh, yeah,
to begin the process of stopping him.
I'm sorry about that. Thursday, June 13th, 6 p.m., Chicago Humanities Fest at the Chop Shop, 2033 West North Avenue. Conversation with Kenyette Tisha Barnes. And it's
Nike Odele,
Mute Kelly, and then journalist Kyra. I know Kyra Kyles from way back in the day, and journalist Kyra Kyles.
She's
great. Tickets can be found where for the event?
Just check out Chicago Humanities Fest.
Okay.
But thank you. Thank you for your attention to the story. It's just freaking sad.
Thanks for your work, Jim.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it.
And he joined us on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
You're killing me, man! Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Hey guys, Ken here from Income Store. I needed to take a minute just to brag on our almost 200 amazing employees. In 2009, we changed our tagline to, "We can grow any business in any industry at any time." The world trusted us and helped us become a 5-time Inc. 5000 honoree. Our 200 employees have done 2 major things at the same time. We manage 1,800 money-making websites and over 260 e-commerce sites for our client partners across the globe. 34% of Americans visited one of these assets last year. But at the same time, these amazing employees have stopped their life every single week and recorded videos and podcasts of exactly how we grow these digital assets. If you're looking to figure out how we do it, just go to door number 1. It's free. You can study thousands of hours of material on how to grow your business. If you have money but no time, go to door number 2. It's a bit pricey, but our managed services are absolutely incredible. You got to check out IncomeStore.com. Our 200 employees are absolutely amazing.
When the world is watching and you need your logo perfectly printed on promotional items, you need the ultimate guarantee. You need certainty. To know for certain it'll be right the first time, on the right items, at a great price. You need the promotional product experts at 4imprint. Because as soon as something has your logo on it, it matters to you, your customers, your coworkers, and to us. From pens and caps to hot tech and popular brands, 4imprint's wide selection always changes to keep up with the latest trends. But there is one thing we've delivered for over 30 years that's timeless: certainty. Because the world is certainly watching. Explore thousands of promotional products at 4imprint.com. That's the number 4imprint.com. 4imprint. For certain.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Are we at the end of small L liberalism? We'll discuss with sociology and philosophy professor from the University of Ljubljana. Ljubljana, the capital of Slovenia, the home country of one
Melania Trump.
You can do your Melania impersonation when Slavoj Zizek, who's a professor there, joins us at 7:37.
Cool. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Skies are blue. We have sunshine, 64 degrees. The House Judiciary Committee is holding a series of hearings this week on former special counsel Robert Mueller's final report. At a hearing yesterday, New York Democrat Jerry Nadler says it is clear that Russia interfered in the 2016 presidential election, and then he tried to present evidence that they tried to help Donald Trump get elected. The president is in Iowa today, and so is Democrat presidential hopeful Joe Biden. Trump will be in the western half of the state as he tours a plant in Council Bluffs, then attends a Republican Party of Iowa fundraiser in West Des Moines. Biden and many other Democratic candidates are crisscrossing the state's eastern side. Investigators in New York City are working to find out why a helicopter crashed onto the roof of a building, killing the pilot. Helicopter crashed onto the roof in Midtown in the Monday afternoon. Alabama Governor Kay Ivey is putting her signature on a bill that requires some sex offenders to undergo chemical castration. The measure says sex offenders whose victims are under 13 need to take medication that blocks the production of testosterone as a condition of their parole. This morning, a judge is expected to decide the fate of the Obama Presidential Center, a project that could alter a Southside Park. A park advocacy group had sued the city of Chicago and the Chicago Park District over the Obama Presidential Center. That lawsuit should be ruled on today. The newborn daughter of a suburban Crystal Lake woman accused of killing her 5-year-old son will remain in protective custody. Joanne Cunningham gave birth to the child May 31st while in jail. Authorities have identified a man found dead in the Chicago River on the northwest side last week, identifying him as a man who went missing several days earlier. Ari Davidson's remains were discovered June 5th. He was last seen May 31st. Rockies over the Cubs 6-5 in Denver, while the Nationals rout the White Sox at guaranteed rate 12-1. The news service of Farmers Insurance. At Farmers Insurance, they know a roof can withstand a lot. One exception? Being an airborne car. Seen it, covered it. Talk to Farmers. 7:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
That's what this radio show is. I tell you what I think, period.
The Joe Walsh Show.
And then you call in and you tell me what you think. And we don't have to fight with each other. We don't have to hurl insults at each other. We'll agree sometimes. We'll disagree sometimes. Big deal. To me, that makes for the most interesting radio. I'm going to tell you what I think, honestly. And I want you to do the same.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5, right before Larry Elder at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
Want to keep your AC from conking out? At your local 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning, we recommend an AC tune-up, ASAP. It can help pinpoint potential problems and even extend the life of your air conditioning system. How's that for a comforting thought? Right now, get cool savings on an AC tune-up. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 Hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation and are only available if the physician determines a prescription is appropriate. See website for full details.
Hey guys, good news. The expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And now get your first month's supply for just $5 at 4hims.com/Chris. Hims connects you with real doctors online who can prescribe the medication, and a pharmacy sends it right to your door. So easy. To get your first order for just $5, you need to go to 4hims.com/Chris. That's 4hims.com/Chris.
Hi, this is Dr. Mike Andriano of Trinity Holistic Health Center. Over the last 25 years, I noticed that I and many of my patients lost the ability to lose weight. Detoxes, starvation, low fat, low carb, nothing works. Even with small appetites and healthy food, we still gain weight. And if we do lose a few pounds, one slip up and it all comes right back. For years, I searched for answers and finally discovered that toxins cause inflammation, and inflammation blocks hormones from telling your body to burn fat. Not just any inflammation, but inflammation at the cell membrane. Diets and detoxes don't address the root cause of weight loss resistance, but we do. My practice concentrates on finding and fixing the root cause of your problem, not just covering up symptoms.
If this sounds like you, go to lifedoc.am or call 1-833-LIFEDOC and learn how you can get help to lose those extra pounds once and for all. That's lifedoc.am or call 1-833-LIFE-DOC. A lost dog, not a lost cause. Read Catching Murphy, the latest book from the Associated Press, available now exclusively at Amazon.com.
7:36. Let's get an update on the roads. AM 560 traffic center time with Jim Telemonti.
Metra has big delays on the Union Pacific North Line due to mechanical problems with a train stopped near Ravinia. Edens Expressway inbound, it's 29 minutes. Lake Cook to the junction. Outbound, it's 31. Kennedy, 51 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. 28 from Montrose, 22 in the Express. The Eisenhower's 55 minutes. 390 to downtown, 45 from Manheim. Northbound I-55 is a mess from 30 to Lockport Road with a crash, and it's 54 minutes, 355 to the drive. Ryan, 31 minutes, 95 to downtown. Tri-State southbound, it's jammed. The Adams Tollway to Irving Park after a crash on the ramp. 8094 is jammed from the state line to Kennedy with a wreck. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center, sunny and pleasant today, high of 78. Currently 64 degrees. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by On Target Radio. From firearms and Second Amendment rights to personal freedoms and government intrusions. Listen here Sunday nights at 9.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, a couple of months ago, it was billed as the debate of the century. University of Toronto psychology professor Jordan Peterson, who has risen to some international acclaim, standing up to the PC minders in Canada, and, of course, has written some best-selling books now and so forth, versus Slavoj Žižek, who is a professor at the Institute for Sociology and Philosophy at the University of Ljubljana in Slovenia. He's also the international director of the Birkbeck Institute for the Humanities at the University of London. And both gentlemen, or the topic the gentlemen tackled in this debate, happinism, capitalism versus Marxism. I watched much of the debate. It was more of a discussion than a debate with a resolution that's being debated back and forth. But fascinating nonetheless, some points of agreement, some points of departure. And given all of the op-eds in the last couple of weeks about the end of small L liberalism in the West, that's a question. I thought it would be interesting to have the professor on. Professor Slavoj Žižek, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Thank you so much.
Surprisingly, yes, you pronounce it correctly.
Thank you very much. How about that? And thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it. So let's just start with, to some extent, the discussion you had with Jordan Peterson a couple of months back, and the capitalism versus Marxism as part of the framing of the 2020 presidential campaign in America is capitalism versus socialism. Do you think that's a fair binary, or does it miss some important nuances?
No, what surprises me is when we talk now in the United States about democratic socialism and so on and so on. But for me, being from Europe, this sounds very strange because, look, if you read Bernie Sanders, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and so on, even most radical statements, these are still much more modest than the standard European social democracy half a century ago. So this is a nice sign of how far we moved to the right. That what was in Europe half a century ago, standard, not the most radical, not in Sweden, but in Germany, France, social democracy is now considered almost an anti-capitalist madness, and so on and so on. We live in strange times.
Well, no question about that. Let me ask you this, and this was a discussion point in your conversation with Peterson. So just sticking with that, Europe, what's been happening in Europe, what happened in Europe 50 years ago, which is happening now in America. What about with respect to the academy? What's happening on college campuses here versus institutions of higher learning in the West in Europe?
I don't think there is a great difference, and this brings me to something which many people misperceived as a kind of a point of contact between me and Jordan Peterson. Of course, from a totally different standpoint than his. I'm also pretty critical of the so-called politically correct culture. I don't think the whole movement of political correctness with all its branches, Me Too, transgender, and so on, is too crazy, too radical. I think that it's not radical at all. I think that it focuses on these pretty superficial points and so on, modes of expression, gestures, and so on, not touching real relations of power. No wonder I was already castigated for just saying this, that all the big business, name them, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and so on, they fully support political correctness, Me Too, and so on and so on. Me Too is totally diverted for me from its original goal, which was real suffering of ordinary women. Now it became, in the large media, of course, a medium for complaint of failed actresses and so on and so on. It's ridiculous. It's perfect reappropriation.
Do you have the Me Too moment going on? Sir, do you have the Me Too moment going on over there in Europe?
Sorry, can you repeat it? I hear you badly.
Do you have the Me Too movement going on there in Europe?
Yes, but I think that I prefer the European version, and the best version that I know is in some Asian countries. South Korea, excellent Me Too. Tens of thousands of ordinary women demonstrating on the streets against the way they're abused by husbands, by men, by lovers, and so on and so on. It's an authentic mass movement with a clear class note and so on and so on. Mobilizing people. It has nothing of this fake stars scandal like National Enquirer, journals, exclusivity, and so on and so on. There can be a different Me Too movement. And the same goes for transgender movement, I think. I think it's certain ideology-appropriated transgender movement, where it became this matter of categorization. If we get enough of categories instead of 2 gender identities, we get 35 of them, then everybody will be able to find its place. We will all be satisfied. No, my God, I have contacts with transgender people. I know this is not just a matter of abolish paternal or binary logic, whatever, oppression, and we will all be happy. Did we forget the basic lesson of psychoanalysis? Sexuality is in itself a traumatic, perverted point. Violence and so on are immanently part of sexuality. There are no easy solutions here. Don't blame just some oppressive power and so on. These are serious and very painful problems.
Well, so there's been a lot of discussion in America, and particularly on the center right, about the end of small L liberalism and whether or not strictly focusing on free markets versus command control is enough to preserve the integrity and confidence in sort of the organizing institutions in a free society. How do you view that? And if as someone who believes in peaceful pluralism,
I can give you, of course, in this couple of minutes, only a very general answer.
Yes.
My idea is that focusing on small market is an illusion, because I think it's clear from the last decades that to prevent To keep small markets alive, to prevent monopolies and so on, you need a very strong state. I think that the very general term of neoliberalism is a misnomer. I mean, state power is not disappearing. State power, the role of the state in our economy, regulatory state, in ecological regulation, health, and so on, is getting stronger and stronger. We don't live in an era where big corporations are taking over and state is disintegrating. We live in an era which is characterized by the strange cohabitation, direct collaboration between big companies, corporations, and state apparatuses.
Well,
my friend, I'm proud to call him my friend, Julian Assange, put it nicely in his book on Google when he says that Google is basically a private corporate version of NSA.
So let's stick at big tech because that's a perfect example. So how do you strike the balance between the regulation of big tech companies, particularly as it pertains to content, which is under much discussion, and allowing that's the sort of innovation that big tech has brought?
Well, this is, I agree, what you are saying now is a problem. But I must admit, you caught me here, as they say, with my pants down, because I wasn't thinking a lot about these specific problems. For me, problems today really big problems are three: ecology, then digital control, and so on. Who will control the network controlling us, and the problem of immigration, international relations, and so on and so on. And I'm here pretty much a pessimist. I don't think there are simple answers. For example, some of my leftist ecologist friends claim we need more authentic democracy. People should decide. People should be told the truth. I'm much more of a pessimist. What if people don't want to hear the truth? I'm not like old Maoists who claim we intellectuals have to learn something listening to the ordinary people. No, we are at a loss. Look at global warming and so on. It's not just that big corporations bribe scientists not to give us all the data. Do we really even know what is happening and so on and so on? So I think that what we need, now you will laugh at it, is something like a new, not totalitarian of course, emergency state. Something like World War II, which do not forget, World War II was the greatest also economic triumph of the United States. Only by the mobilization for World War II, United States really got out of the economic crisis. And maybe we need something similar today. I like those who reacted to Trump's proclamation of national emergency because of immigration. What if the next president will proclaim national emergency because of global warming and so on and so on? I think I'm a pessimist here, that things cannot go on as usual, that only some kind of emergency state can mobilize us.
So you think, like, to deal with what you see as the main threats to Western civilization requires something like a Marshall Plan for each of these categories of issues?
Wait a minute. Yeah, but yes, but wait a minute. But you see, you meant no. I don't. I hope you didn't mean the United States, because I think we already live in a plural universe where, and this is what many of my leftist friends don't like to hear, where you cannot simply put all the blame on American imperialism and so on.
Right.
Look at what China is doing in some African and Asian countries. It's good old economic colonialism and so on and so on.
Well, look what China's doing in China. Yeah, I mean, right, okay.
Oh, not to mention even China.
So I mean, the emergence.
Or look like Arab countries. What some Arab countries like Saudi Arabia are doing in Yemen, for example. This is for me perhaps the big scandal today. We all were talking about Khashoggi, the guy murdered in Istanbul. Hello?
Yeah. Right. Yes. Right.
Are you still on?
Khashoggi. Yes. Right.
Yes. We all talked about that murder, but that's nothing. Khashoggi was one of us. Of course, it was in the media. He was part of American establishment. What about what goes now in Yemen? 10,000, tens of thousands of children dying and so on and so on. And then, of course, we wonder why are there refugees. That's why I'm opposed to this stupid leftist humanitarianism. Oh, we are guilty of everything, the West, So we have to open our borders, allow everybody in. No, of course, I am for fair treatment of refugees. But we should act now to change conditions which create refugees.
But
Don't focus on humanitarian problems.
But Professor, I just want to understand. So when you talk about an emergency state, is that some sort of global emergency state, something on the order of NATO?
Yes, humanity needs it. Yes, I'm a pessimist. Otherwise, we will find ourselves in some kind of a totally controlled society. Look what is happening in China, how citizens are already controlled. But I don't like to focus on China because, you know, it's easy to have a bad guy out there, China. But in our countries, only in a more discreet way and in a more efficient way, everything that we do is already registered and so on and so on. We are under tight, already incredibly controlled, and I think that we cannot resolve this problem easily through some more market freedom or state control or whatever. I trust neither markets nor the states here. And it's the same with ecology and so on. It's not only global warming. I worry even more about what is happening in the depth of the oceans and so on. We are approaching some kind of a chaotic state. So I'm unfortunately not part of those, how are they called, new Enlightenment rationalists who claim things are not so bad and so on. You know, where are we now, if you ask me? As in Europe, just before First World War, everybody thought it was a wonderful epoch. From 1850s, for 60, 70 years, we had peace, incredible progress, and so on and so on. And then it all of a sudden exploded. This, I think, is the right parallel for where we are today.
I wish I had as much time with you as Jordan Peterson did. He is a professor, Slavoj Žižek, a professor at the Institute for Sociology and Philosophy at the University of Ljubljana. Professor, thanks so much for joining us. Really enjoyed it.
I'm grateful that you gave me a voice and wish you all the best luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560.
Sure.
The Answer.
If your business depends on a Sprinter or light-duty diesel, you can't afford to have just anyone care for your major investment and important equipment. From a single vehicle to an entire fleet, depend on the experts at Remke's Garage to fix your Sprinter, Duramax, Cummins, or Power Stroke vehicle. Only go to the experts at Remke's Garage. Remke's doesn't just fix problems, they find solutions. Remke's goal is making sure you never lose a dollar of business. That's why owner Joe Remke will customize a maintenance plan specific to your unique vehicle. Remke's Garage specializes in Sprinter and light-duty diesel vehicles. Their commitment to your business is backed with a complimentary maintenance plan and free 2-year warranty on all parts. They'll pick up, deliver, and offer you a loaner vehicle for free. Go to remkesgarage.com to schedule your free maintenance plan consultation. That's REMKES Garage.com. That's Remke's, spelled REMKES Garage.com.
You know what the University of Ljubljana's mascot
That's
is?
what I was just going to tell you.
What?
Well, they're the Lumberjacks, right? It's got a rhyme, Ljubljana Lumberjacks.
They're the Melanias.
Oh.
And I think they're going to be added to the Big Ten.
Yeah, they're D1, right? Or D2, maybe going up to D1. Hey, take control of your income and your future. I'm talking about Online Trading Academy. They are the leader in trading and investing education with courses offered throughout Chicagoland, including East Peoria, Valparaiso, and Lombard. With Online Trading Academy, you can learn about ways to generate income and protect your retirement. I signed up to take a free class at the Lombard location. I was very impressed by what I experienced. I learned a lot about the markets and how to trade. The instructor was incredibly knowledgeable. He's actually funny because he's performed at Second City. And he took time to explain to us their patented trading strategy. Now, after my experience, I really recommend that you give it a try. So sign up for the free introduction class, and I'm sure you'll walk away with a new understanding of trading the markets. Call 844-778-7132. That's 844-778-7132 to attend and get 2 free passes to their next class so you can give it a try. Call right now, and they'll send you home with their Professionals Insider Kit. It's full of exclusive investing courses and some of their best lessons from the pros. Seats go quickly, folks, so call now, 844-778-7132. That's 844-778-7132, or visit them online at otaclass.com.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm loving my Balance of Nature. Since I started, I have not gotten one cold. I kind of fight everything. I get a little tickle, but it goes away.
It's just amazing the difference I felt. I want you to know how much I appreciate the counseling and so forth and your attention to your people. I have been a pretty big advocate for the Balance of Nature. I don't know how many truck drivers have asked me, how in the heck do you keep going at 88, 89 years old? I said, Balance of Nature. If they want to really enjoy some good health, get on Balance of Nature.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. For a limited time, you can receive a 30% discount and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Mark Weingart, President and CEO of Star Creations, Inc., the fastest growing supplier of wall decor products in the U.S. When it comes to banking, I don't want to be a small fish in a big pond. That's why I bank at Signature Bank Chicago. At Signature Bank, every customer is important. I know I can pick up the phone and talk to any one of the decision makers I know and trust at Signature Bank. At Signature Bank, they understand and respond to the unique needs of my business with flexibility and fairness. I'm proud to bank with Signature Bank because I know they're deeply invested in the success of Star Creations.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The end of a committed relationship is among life's most stressful episodes. The time when you must rely on someone who will look after your best interests and those of your children. That's why people turn to the Illinois chapter of the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers, the leading association of peer-approved family law attorneys. They are the best of the best. Fewer than 150 divorce lawyers in Illinois have passed the Academy's rigorous vetting process, and each has at least a decade's experience in family law. A family separation can take many different paths. You need the most qualified guide you can find, who will secure the legal groundwork in a time of emotional upheaval. Look first to the Illinois chapter of the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers. They not only know the law, they help write the law. Visit thefamlaw.org to learn more about the attorney who may be best for you.
When your rug is sick, make the click, ChicagoRugman.com.
You own fabulous rugs. You spent a lot of money on them. How do you get them clean? I'm Carl Heinrich. They call me the Chicago Rugman, and I am. My companies have been cleaning Chicagoland rugs for homes and businesses since 1903. I'm going to flat out say it. Nobody cleans rugs like we do. We have special equipment that no other rug cleaner in Chicagoland has. Go to ChicagoRugman.com and see the video of our processes. Pet odors and stains? Gone. Dirt? Gone. Your rugs will look as good as new. You can come to us, or we can come to you. Check out our ratings. Ask about our 100% guarantee. I'm the Chicago Rugman, Carl Heinrich. I personally guarantee you a great experience with your rug. ChicagoRugman.com.
ChicagoRugman.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Everything is Watergate. Democrats break John Dean out of the emergency class to put on a little show yesterday. We'll discuss that with Jazz Shaw, weekend editor at hotair.com at 8:08.
And later, a Michigan abortion hotel. 2 enter, 1 leaves.
Oh,
come on, Jacobson. Who brought her here today? But first,
I
let's
don't
get into
know.
the newsroom. Well, here you go, Mike. Take it over.
Off-duty CPD officer charged in a deadly crash. We'll talk about that story with you. 3 charged with animal cruelty in the Fair Oaks Farms case. A fan struck by a foul ball at a White Sox game Rockies edge the Cubs. Nationals demolish the White Sox, and the Bears are at minicamp. Sunny and pleasant day ahead. WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
Setting the stage for a legal fight. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what House Democrats plan to do today, continuing their investigation. President Trump calls a witch hunt. His press secretary, Sarah Sanders, told Fox,
they don't get to redo something because they don't like the results. They didn't like the results of the election. Now they don't like the results of the Mueller report.
But Democrats keep probing possible obstruction of justice and more. Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
The resolution to be voted on today in the House would make it easier for Democrats to sue the Trump administration and other potential witnesses who refuse to comply with subpoenas. The House resolution would also authorize lawsuits against Attorney General William Barr and former White House counsel Don McGahn for defying subpoenas pertaining to special counsel Robert Mueller's report. House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler said his panel will not vote to hold Barr in criminal contempt for now, after the Justice Department provided more documents from the Mueller investigation. Dave?
John, the president will go to Iowa today, looking at ethanol as a focus. He'll also gather with Republicans, and one of his rivals, Joe Biden, will also be campaigning in Iowa. Biden, the front runner in the 2020 Democratic race. There's a manhunt for the guy who shot a sheriff's deputy in Los Angeles County last night who was off duty, not in uniform, standing at the counter of a Jack in the Box restaurant.
It was like a pop, and then the guy looked back and he started running the point, and then after that, everyone out of Jack in the Box just started running, and that's when I knew something was up.
Well, the deputy took a bullet to the head, is in critical condition. David Ortiz now being treated at a Boston hospital. The Red Sox flew their retired star player out of the Dominican Republic after Ortiz was shot Sunday night. Boston fans following it closely.
Took pride in this team, in this city. I mean, you saw what he did after the marathon, and for him to be behind this city the way he was, we all need to be behind him.
Ortiz needed surgery to remove his gallbladder and parts of his intestines. His liver also damaged. The gunman was tackled and beaten at the nightclub where it happened. This is Fox News.
Sunshine and 67 degrees. 8:02 is our time on AM 560, The Answer, and good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Judge John Robert Blakely will decide the fate, likely, of a project that could dramatically alter a Southside Park. A lawsuit challenging the location of the Obama Presidential Center, filed by a park advocacy group, should be ruled on today. The lawsuit was against the city of Chicago and the Park District. Protect Our Parks argued the city reached beyond its powers to place the Obama Center in Jackson Park. The city has claimed that Protect Our Parks argument is not relevant because their arrangement with the Obama Foundation does not violate public trust doctrine. Police are trying to figure out who left a suspicious package outside of a church in Wheaton. Bomb squad was called out last night to St. Joseph Orthodox Church for a large box with a typed note on top. Package appeared to have been an electronic doorbell wrapped up and sealed in that large box. Mayor Lori Lightfoot and the Chicago Police Department are launching what they call a new crime-fighting initiative that will partner with local businesses.
Of course, the city of Chicago will lead, and the police department will play a significant role, but our business community, our block clubs, and our neighborhood organizations and individual citizens also need to be a part of the solution.
The plan involves placing a business liaison officer in each of the city's 22 districts. Rockies over the Cubs, 6-5 in Denver. Nationals rout the White Sox 12-1. Mandatory minicamp for the Bears kicks off today at Hallis Hall. 8:03 on AM 560. Time for the AM 560 Business Beat. From the Fox Business Network, here's Ginny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, small business owners are feeling better about the economy. The National Federation of Independent Business says its reading in May rose to the highest level since February of last year. Small business owners' expectations for sales, business conditions, and expansion all rose. Two popular photo sites are being sold. Private equity firm Apollo Global Management is buying both Shutterfly and Snapfish. Shutterfly is valued at $1.7 billion, Snapfish at $300 million. Apollo plans to combine the two services. There's encouraging news for people who like to wear Crocs. The footwear company says it does not expect to see a material adverse impact on its business from proposed footwear tariffs on imports from China. The company says it has a globally diversified sourcing base, meaning it makes Crocs in multiple countries. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jenny Cosola.
8:04. Business is a service of Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Visit signaturebank.bank for your commercial banking needs. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Larry Elder wants to know what's wrong with earning citizenship.
I want to just say something about the word that they use, merit. It is really a condescending word.
Merit is a condescending word. At least she didn't say it was racist. Approximately 12% of immigrants admitted are based upon employment and skills. 12%, 66% precisely are admitted based upon family connections.
The Larry Elder Show. Weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. The storm season is here. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for sudden damage and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000. That's 630-834-6000 or charlesequipment.com. charlesequipment.com.
All money managers might seem the same, but while some give their clients cookie-cutter portfolios, Fisher Investments tailors portfolios to your goals and needs. Some only call when they have something to sell. Fisher calls regularly, so you stay informed. And while some advisors are happy to earn commissions whether you do well or not, Fisher Investments fees are structured so we do better when you do better. In other words, we're on your side. Maybe that's why most of our clients come from other money managers. So if you're in or nearing retirement, talk with us and find out why investors are switching to and staying with Fisher Investments. Fisher Investments. Clearly better money management. Investments in securities involve the risk of loss. Visit us at FisherInvestments.com to find out what we can do for you.
.807 in the AM 560 Traffic Center. Here is Jim Telemonte.
The southbound Tri-State has heavy delays. 21 to Bradley, Everett to Deerfield, and a big jam. Busy to Irving Park after a crash. Northbound, it is bumper to bumper Cicero Avenue up to Irving Park. Eastbound Adams Tollway delays are 25 to Barrington and lead to the Tri-State. Reagan Tollway 31 to 355 and 83 to the Tri-State. Northbound Veterans Memorial 555 to St. Charles and the Army Trail toll to 290. Delays on the inbound Kennedy starting at Nagel, 51 minutes O'Hare to downtown, quicker the Express. Eden's 28 minutes Lake Cook to the Kennedy. Eisenhower an hour and 5 minutes, 390 to downtown. Stevenson 54 minutes, 355 to the Drive. Ryan 37 minutes from 95th. That's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center and our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Sunny skies. It'll be pleasant today with a high 78. Clouds increase tonight, low 62. Cloudy and cool, shower and thunderstorm tomorrow, the high 68. Clouds on Thursday morning, sun by the afternoon, the high 67. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
67 at O'Hare, sunshine. Next news, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Make sure to check out the Income Store live video stream of today's show right now at 560theanswer.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, I guess when you run out of fact witnesses, any old Watergate-era apparatchik will do, particularly one that, since his felony conviction, his time in prison, his disbarment, has turned his life around and become a good inside-the-beltway leftist. Talking about John Dean, of course.
He's on CNN all the time. He's a contributor.
No, I understand. John Dean and 2 U.S. attorneys who have nothing to do with the Mueller report and have no material knowledge of anything contained within it appeared before the House Judiciary Committee to offer their interpretation of a public document. That's useful. Here's Doug Collins sort of making the point. I love your work on CNN, so why'd we all have to meet here? I can just turn on my TV.
But however, here we come with some folks that are great folks. You're wonderful on TV. I could catch your testimony on TV. In fact, by the way, I could this morning. I'm a Republican. I believe that you use everything that you've got to do as much business as you want and generate as much as you want to work for yourself. But I don't believe it's the problem of this committee to have to come and hear from those who are not a part of the Mueller investigation, who are not a part of this, pontificating on things that you can do on TV like all of us get a chance to do occasionally, but not here on the hearing.
And I thought he had a fun little paraphrasing of President Obama's formulation in the direction of Mitt Romney for John Dean.
Just a few years ago, it was brought up, and one of our candidates talked about Russia being a threat, and the former president, Mr. Obama, said, that the 80s are asking for their foreign policy back. Well, guess what? This committee is now hearing from the 70s, and they want their star witness back. In fact, it's very difficult for one of the witnesses here today, for many of us who could actually trace the distrust in government back to the witness here today. The 70 star of obstruction.
Matt Gaetz, Republican from Florida on the House Judiciary Committee, had his turn as well. And he did a nice job reminding people that this isn't the first call for impeachment that one John Dean has made.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I seek unanimous consent to enter into the record a December 30th, 2005 essay written by Mr. John Dean entitled George W. Bush as the New Richard Nixon, both wiretapped illegally and impeachably.
Without objection.
Mr. Dean, how many American presidents have you accused of being Richard Nixon?
I actually wrote a book about Mr. Bush and Mr. Cheney with the title Worse Than Watergate.
So it's sort of become a cottage. Did you make money on that book?
Laughing at himself.
It was a very successful book,
How much money did you make on it?
I'm sorry, I don't have any idea.
More than $1 million?
No.
More than $500,000?
I said I don't have any idea.
If you don't have any idea, how do you know you didn't make more than $1 million?
I don't really know exactly.
Doesn't know how much he makes from CNN.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
Wait a second. Mr. Dean has made a cottage industry out of accusing presidents of acting like Richard Nixon. I would like to know how much money he makes based on making these accusations and exploiting them for his own economic benefit.
Yeah, I like that to know that too. That's a fair line of questioning. I mean, if you're going to have him here to testify with respect to a bunch of stuff he has no pertinent knowledge of, then why not get into it a little bit?
He was claiming there's a road, here's the roadmap to impeachment for President Trump. And I know because I was with Nixon. Please.
Yeah, I get it.
Didn't connect the dots.
I suppose. I don't know. I just have this feeling, by the way, that this show, and by the way, a KFC Stephen Cohn.
Oh, yeah. How's he doing?
He's finger looking good. And he conceded that it was part show.
Some critics say that this appearance is just a show. What do you say to that?
Well, it's not just a show, but for the part of it that it is a show, it's okay. The American public needs to be shown what was in the Mueller report. I think it's been said only 2% of the people read it, and I can understand that. It's not the most, it's not page-turner material.
Yeah, so a little show to help educate the public. Okay. All right. You know who I think the audience was for this?
What?
I think the audience was Nancy Pelosi. I think the audience was Nadler for Pelosi. The American public, you think they're compelled by what somebody that most people don't know or don't remember has to say about a report they're not interested enough to read? They got the top line. No collusion, and Mueller punted on obstruction, and now it's just a bunch of politicians arguing about it. For more on this topic and a few others, we're pleased to be joined by Jazz Shaw. He's the weekend editor at hotair.com. Jazz, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, folks. Hope it's nice out there in Chicago today.
Yeah, it's lovely, except for the fact that it's a totalitarian state. Here's so what did you think about the performance of John Dean and House Judiciary Committee Republicans and just the whole circus?
The whole thing was just bizarre, wasn't it? I mean, it played out with the amount of mockery from a couple people, and you just played some clips from that it truly deserved. But I came away feeling a little bit slighted because why didn't they invite me? Because the witness's entire knowledge of this entire situation that's going on, is pretty much what he's heard on television. He had no involvement. Well, I watch CNN and the other networks every day. Yeah. I could have done the same thing.
Yeah, right.
Where's my invitation? I'd like to write a book.
So what's next with this? I mean, who else are they going to call up there and try to lay out a roadmap to impeachment for President Trump?
Spiro Agnew is not available.
No.
Who else we got?
Let me see. Who was the lady who had accused Clarence Thomas during his confirmation?
Anita Hill. We got Anita Hill. She available?
Yeah, we could get Anita Hill in there.
Yeah, sure. I mean, spin the wheel, I suppose, right? Byron York writes about this in the Washington Examiner about the Democrats continuing to sort of be in God's little acre between the rock and the hard place on impeachment. And what's your sense about how much internal consternation there is between those who really want to press forward and worry about public opinion through the process, as opposed to those who want the ground to be a little bit more fertile before they do?
Well, Nancy Pelosi, for all you might wish to say about her and criticism you may have of her, she's been playing this game for a very long time. She was around, during the Nixon era. She's old enough to have seen it all come and go. So I think she is the one, and, mark this date for me saying this sentence out loud. I think Nancy Pelosi is the voice of reason in this discussion, not in terms of success or failure, but understanding the political consequences, knowing that if she gives in to the young socialists that are, really whipping up the crowd and saying let's start impeachment now, and does that, it's going to fail. And when it fails, it's going to be a huge political failure, a spectacular failure. And the public, there's an exceedingly good chance that they're going to be like, well, why are you wasting our time doing this? Why aren't you doing your jobs? It very well could end up helping Donald Trump in the end, which is the last thing Nancy Pelosi wants to do. And so far, I thought she was going to cave by now. I really did. So I guess good for her. She's sticking to her guns.
Something that will benefit Trump, certainly, particularly if it plays out as advertised, is the deal he got done with Mexico for assistance with the migration problem at our southern border. Also included rescinding the threat to impose tariffs, which is good for the economies and thus the citizens of both countries. Despite what the New York Times, the New York Times' best efforts, this is a big political win for President Trump, particularly as you see material steps towards implementation already occurring.
Well, I don't know where you're getting your news from. That's certainly not what I heard on CNN and the Washington Post and any of the late night comics. No, it was a huge win. They're grasping at straws here, trying to belittle the accomplishment by saying, well, these are things that Mexico agreed to, weeks or months ago. Well, they talked about it. They may have had some sort of start of an agreement, but they never actually did anything. And it was only when the president came along with the tariffs and actually set a deadline, it's like, hey, Monday, it's go time, that suddenly, the Thursday before, with 4 days to go, thousands of troops showed up on the border with Guatemala. Hundreds of members of a caravan were arrested and detained. Leaders of two migrant groups, migrant rights groups, were also detained. It was a mess. They mobilized their new National Guard unit, as they're calling it, different than our National Guard, and they're heading for the border. All that happened in a period of 48 hours after Trump announced the deadline. So talking about it is one thing. It doesn't get you anywhere with the president. When you actually do all that stuff, Well, suddenly, no tariffs. It was a negotiating tactic, and it worked. But nobody wants to admit that.
Yeah, which is so sad. But President Trump will today when he's in Iowa. He's also going to be there at the same time. Former Vice President Joe Biden is there. Is this a preview of things to come?
Well, that depends really on whether or not Joe Biden can secure the nomination. I've been watching, and yeah, he's the leader, no question. He's the front runner, has been since before he even got in. But in Iowa in particular, he does seem to be slipping. And there's a ton of people running against him. If a bunch of them start dropping out this summer and it all starts coalescing about somebody not named Joe Biden, he may not have this thing sewn up yet.
Yeah. And Elizabeth Warren, I mean, there's a virtual three-way tie right now between Elizabeth Warren and Sanders and Buttigieg. See, I butchered his name. Let's just call him Mayor Pete. Do you see him, rising in the polls as the summer goes on?
I said from the beginning that Buttigieg looked to me like somebody who, if he could get a breakaway moment and kind of capture the spotlight for himself, could be really dangerous. He has a lot going for him in terms of the liberals, people that are really motivated to vote in the primary. Yeah, he's one more white guy, but at least he's gay, so he's got the whole intersectionality thing going. And he's a good speaker, and he does, to his credit, have a good record in his hometown as mayor with a lot of the programs that he put in place. He helped the city recover. So he's got a good story. So, I think he has potential.
South Bend, they're right on the heels of Elkhart in terms of local regional GDP. I mean, that's a real credential running for president of the United States. I mean, this guy, I just can't believe this guy. I mean, it's amazing to me that he is taken as a serious presidential candidate. And I think it shows you why the CNN poll came out this week showing 54% of the population thinks Trump is going to win re-election. 41% of the likely electorate thinks he'll lose. And obviously, Trump's approval rating isn't 54. It's not because I support him that he's at 54. The bump from where he actually is in terms of enthusiastic support to 54 is all a commentary on this the swarm of Democrats that was in Iowa this weekend.
Yeah, and sadly for the Democrats, and actually good for the rest of us, Biden is, I still maintain, their most electable candidate. But they're all busy trying to tear him down, and they're scoring points. They're bringing up a lot of stuff from his past. And Biden is kind of helping them, don't you think? Because by refusing to show up in California, by refusing to show up in Iowa until now, for all the big parties where they were all gathering, he was busy running around in Ohio and in some swing states and things like that and not doing anything. And some of those early state primary voters, if you don't even bother to show up, if you just assume you've already got this in the bag, that might turn some of them off. So I don't know if Joe's totally helping himself.
Well, he said he had to go to his granddaughter's graduation, so he missed that Hall of Fame event in Iowa over the weekend.
Yeah, sure, and I think Hunter needed some help in the Eastern Bloc with some business interests, too. I mean, Joe Biden, I mean, not to culturally appropriate here, Joe Biden is a piñata. He is defenseless. He's just hanging by a string, and he's going to get beaten about the head and neck area until he breaks apart. I hope he's the nominee because I actually think he's the least electable of the candidates. But I don't think he's going to make it. I don't think he's going to make it out of Iowa, and then he's not going to make it out of New Hampshire. And somebody is, and it's not going to be Mayor Pete drinking booze out of a black paper bag with a couple of his quote-unquote homies that are probably paid extras. It's not going to be him in South Carolina. So I still think if she could get her act together, Kamala Harris is the inside straight in terms of the again, straight in the Democrat party, but the inside straight for Democrats in terms of the nominee. What do you think about that?
Well, you answered the question I was about to ask you. If you don't think it's Biden and you don't think it's Buttigieg, who's it going to be? I wouldn't rule out Kamala Harris, but I also think she's terrible on the stump.
Yeah.
I don't think she doesn't get people fired up. She's not as bad as Elizabeth Warren, who is just a total, anchor when she stands up and talks. But she's kind of in that territory. They need somebody more both relatable and exciting.
You know who they need? You know who they need back?
Here we go. Who do we need?
Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton. Let's bring her back. Let's wheel her back in like Hannibal Lecter and give her another shot to redeem herself.
I thought you were going to say Michelle Obama.
No. She's playing dodgeball on late night talk shows. She doesn't have time for this. He is Jazz Shaw, weekend editor at hotair.com. Jazz, thanks as always for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, folks. You have a great day.
Take care.
You too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Have you written a book and want to get it published? Christian Faith Publishing helps thousands of authors just like you publish their books with a company dedicated to strong Christian values. To help you get started, we want to send you our free author submission kit. Christian Faith Publishing reviews every book submitted to us, and if your book is approved, we'll edit, design, print, and distribute your book online and in bookstores everywhere. Imagine seeing your book in specialty Christian bookstores, Amazon, iTunes, Barnes & Noble, and many others. It could happen, and it all starts with one call to Christian Faith Publishing at 800-566-1012 for your free author submission kit. If you have a novel, children's book, poetry, biography, or any inspirational work you've written, we can help you get it published today. Shouldn't you work with a publisher who shares your Christian values of integrity and honesty? You can get your book published. So call for your free author submission kit right now. Call 800-566-1012. That's 800-566-1012. 800-566-1012.
Hey, golf season's in full swing, and you can still join us for our annual golf outing, this year benefiting the 100 clubs of Chicago, Lake, McHenry, DuPage, and Will counties. Our morning shotgun is sold out, but we have some foursomes available for our 2 p.m. afternoon shotgun. So join us in the afternoon on Monday, June 24th at the Mistwood Golf Club in Romeoville, presented by Clear Financial Strategies. You'll enjoy a full lunch and dinner when you join us, along with a round of golf in between. So call right now, 312-363-6680. That's 312-363-6680. Again, anyone can join us for a great day of golf. And if you own a business or make the marketing decisions for your company, you can become a business benefactor. $1,196 for a foursome, and then we'll give you 25 one-minute commercials to promote right here, to promote your company right here on AM 560. It's a $3,000 advertising value for just $1,196, and a portion of the proceeds will benefit the 100 clubs that provide financial and educational assistance to the families of fallen first responders. It's a win-win. Call today, 312-363-6680, or learn more at 560theanswer.com/golf.
Hi, I'm Misty May Trainer. As a 3-time gold medalist beach volleyball world champion, I had access to the world's best trainers and doctors. But now I'm retired, a busy mom of 3, coach volleyball, and I want my legs to look as good as possible. So when I noticed the veins on my legs, I wanted the same world-class treatment I was used to.
So Misty May joined the over 1 million women and men who went to Vein Clinics of America. For over 35 years, the doctors at Vein Clinics of America have been the leading experts in the non-invasive treatment of vein disease. If you're experiencing tired, painful, tender legs, or have lost your confidence due to those embarrassing varicose and spider veins, you can get world-class treatment for your legs in the Chicagoland area.
My experience with Vein Clinics of America was amazing. I got my legs back, and I'm ready to hit the beach again feeling confident.
Call Vein Clinics of America now to see if you qualify for a free consultation. Most treatments are covered by insurance. Call 800-514-5100. 800-514-5100. That's 800-514-5100.
Hey, this is big. Listen up. You're about to hear how you can receive the single biggest discount on Balance of Nature that's ever been offered on this radio station. And you're going to want to take advantage of it because Balance of Nature works. There's really no simpler way to say it. Your body needs fruits and vegetables, and you're not getting enough in your diet or when you smoke that cigar. So in a single capsule of Balance of Nature, you're getting 10 servings of 31 different fruits and veggies. It can't be any easier than that. And you hear people talking about Balance of Nature every day on this station, including me, because it works. So start living a healthier life today by taking Balance of Nature. And here's the deal you need to take advantage of before it's gone. For a limited time, you can receive a 30% discount and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. But you've got to use the promo code Chicago. That's 30% off and free shipping when you call 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or simply go to balanceofnature.com. Discount code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
A couple of new proposals from a couple of the Socialist Spice Girls, Cortez and Tlaib. We'll tackle them with the help of Republican Dan Crenshaw from Texas at 8:38.
But first, let's head straight into that newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Nearly 1 million on the streets in Hong Kong this morning. 67 degrees and blue skies at 8:30. Opponents of legislation in that territory that would allow criminal suspects to be extradited to mainland China are planning even more protests and labor strikes in an attempt to block the move. They say it endangers the territory's judicial independence and Western-style freedoms. Assailants raided a central Malian village early today, killing 95. It's the latest massacre in a growing ethnic conflict that has been inflamed by Islamic terrorists, according to the Mali government. Voting has begun in primary elections in Virginia. We'll keep our eyes on that today, where off-year contests for all 140 seats in the state legislature can serve as a political barometer for the upcoming presidential election year. The state's elections in 2017 were an early warning signal that a blue wave of opposition to President Donald Trump was coming. It did end up being limited to the 2018 U.S. midterms in the House. Spotlight on the Mueller report in the House hearings yesterday. The Judiciary Committee holding those hearings, trying to find possible obstruction by President Trump. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders called it a sad day.
There was no collusion, there was no obstruction, and it is absolutely time for them to move on and start working with the president to fix some problems like the crisis at the border, like infrastructure, lowering drug prices. We have a lot of things that we could be doing.
Georgia Republican Doug Collins saying the Democrats are obsessed. This morning, a judge is expected to decide the fate of a project that could alter a Southside Park. A lawsuit challenging the location of the Obama Presidential Center, filed by a park advocacy group against the city and the Park District, should be ruled on today. Police are trying to find out who left a suspicious package outside of a church in Wheaton. Authorities have identified a man found dead in the Chicago River on the northwest side last week as Ari Davidson. The remains were discovered June 5th. Davidson was last seen May 31st. A group of former students at Western Illinois University are giving the school's president until the end of the month to resign. If he does not, Western Illinois' Alumni Council says they will begin a push to have President Jack Thomas fired. Rockies over the Cubs 6-5. Nationals rout the White Sox 12-1. The news a service of Farmers Insurance. At Farmers Insurance, they know every windshield collision has a unique sound. Beetle, bird poop, drone. Seen it, covered it, talk to farmers. 8:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher exposes the impeachment strategy of the Democrats.
It kind of hit me. They might just want to hold the prospect of impeachment over his head for as long as they can, trying to do as much damage as they can to his standing. Maybe that's the play.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson, and I've got a quick, cost-effective way to protect and grow the value of your home this summer. Call the professionals at CertaPro Painters for interior and exterior painting. They painted the first floor of my home last year, and every time someone walks in, they always say, gosh, your house looks so much bigger. That's because one of their color specialists helped me pick out the perfect color. So boost your curb appeal this summer with a fresh coat of paint while protecting it from the heat, storms, and insects. Be proud to show off your house to your friends and neighbors. Their summer calendar has a few spots available, so secure yours now. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting experts. You can schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated. Get a free estimate at CertaPro.com or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
Balance of Nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
When I wasn't taking it and I was waiting for my operation, I was feeling very tired. Now I'm driving like 11, 12 hours a day. I told you I manage 15 gas stations. And I have so much energy. I even gave some of my pills for my son, and he said, Dad, this is good, so I like it. I'm healing so fast. It's like amazing. My family is so surprised because my wound like closing up and doing so good. So that is working now that I'm start taking my those fruits and vegetables.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. For a limited time, you can receive a 30% discount and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code CHICAGO.
A lost dog, not a lost cause. Read Catching Murphy, the latest book from the Associated Press, available now exclusively at Amazon.com.
8:35 and a check on the roads in the AM 560 traffic center with Jim Telemonti.
Metra has major delays on the Union Pacific North line after mechanical problems. Kennedy, the delay is starting at Central is 51 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, 33 from Montrose, 30 in the Express. Outbound 46 to the airport. Eden's 22 minutes, Lake Cook to Junction, outbound 35. On Eisenhower, 58 minutes, 390 to downtown, 43 from Manheim, outbound 56 minutes to 390. Stevenson is 54 minutes, 355 to the drive, outbound 42. Ryan, 37 minutes, 95 to downtown. I-57, Bishop Ford, both 25 minutes, I-80 to the merge. The Tri-State is heavy southbound, 120 to 137, Bradley to Deerfield, the Adams Tollway to Irving Park, northbound Cicero to Irving Park. It's traffic. I'm Jim Telemonti on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. A sunny and pleasant day ahead. High of 78. Clouds on the increase overnight, low 62, and a shower or thunderstorm reserved for the afternoon tomorrow. High of 68. 67 at O'Hare. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour Radio Show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshale Financial Group.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, Socialist Spice Girls, the two of them have exciting new proposals. You'll hear from them. But, first, our hearts go out to the third, Ilhan Omar. She's too busy trying to get right with the IRS to have, and the state of Minnesota, to have time for an exciting Marxist proposal like the other two of her comrades have. She's agreed to pay $3,500 and a $500 fine with respect to her personal tax returns.
Did she just not file them, or what did she fraudulently file them?
Campaign Finance Board of Minnesota discovered she filed tax returns stating she was married to one man when in fact she was married to another.
Does this have something to do with her brother or something like that?
It also has to do with her immigration, whether she committed immigration status or emigration to this country, and whether she committed fraud in the process. But I know these are uncomfortable questions to pose. The revelation, part of an investigation into allegations that Omar had misused campaign funds. Using campaign funds for personal, non-campaign related activities or expenses and not reporting them as part of your income is also known as tax fraud. Just ask Bill Beavers or Jesse Jackson Jr. Okay. Here's a little bit of the timeline of Omar's complicated personal life.
Oh, good. I can't wait to hear.
And it's relevant to these tax challenges she's facing. Early 2000s, Omar and Ahmed Hersey had 2 children but never married. In 2009, Omar legally married another man, Ahmed Elmi. In 2011, Omar and Elmi obtained a faith-based divorce but no legal divorce. In 2012, Omar reconciles with Hersey
The first guy?
First guy. And the couple has a third child. In 2014 and 2015, Omar and Hersey filed joint married returns. In 2016, Omar's attorney and accountants find something needs to be corrected in Omar's filings. In 2017, Omar files for divorce from Elmi, even though she had she files for divorce from the second guy, even though she filed a joint married return with the first guy to whom she wasn't married. In 2018, Omar legally marries Hersey, the first guy. Got that? I hope her accountants do.
And she has 3 kids with 2 different men? Or
3 kids with
the same guy.
3 kids with Hersey.
Hersey, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's on the sidelines. That means the other 2 gals have to take up the banner, and they have. They have, certainly. Here, let's go with the star of the show.
Okay, well, AOC, right?
AOC. It's not the GND. It's her salary. There's a rap song in there somewhere that she's focused on right now. Hey, she's fighting for a living wage, $15 minimum wage, hopefully indexed to inflation, as she said previously this week. Hey, how about a little something for the effort? How about her getting a little bump from that $174,000 salary?
It may not be politically popular to say, but honestly, this is why there's so much pressure to turn to lobbying firms and to cash in on member service after people leave because precisely of this issue. So it may be politically convenient, and it may make you look good in the short term for saying, oh, we're not voting for pay increases, but we should be fighting for pay increases for every American worker. We should be fighting for a $15 minimum wage pegged to inflation so that everybody in the United States with a salary, with a wage, gets a cost of living increase. Members of Congress, retail workers, everybody should get cost of living increases.
What do you think? Everybody should get a COLA? Including your $174,000 a year congressman, those chairmen of committees and so forth make more. That's the 3x the median household income in this country.
All in.
How about doing exactly what you said with the $15 minimum wage, indexed to inflation, and that's the salary of a member of Congress.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey debt pro answer line. 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment.
What do you think of that proposal? Or the proposal that I've always had for the state of Illinois, which is adjust the politicians' incomes to the median household income in the state, and it can only increase when the median household income increases and only by the same amount. They should make no more than the median household because they're not our betters. They're just our temporary representatives. $174,000 for a member of Congress?
And then if they have a committeeship, a leadership position
they get bumped.
On a committee, they get bumped.
All right, so that's AOC taking, again, providing intellectual leadership for the left. She should get a COLA too. Yeah. Rashida Tlaib has a good idea too. While you're getting a COLA, and I assume this would apply to members of Congress as well. Struggling middle-income families that they are. The members of Congress, and that is $3,000 to $6,000 cash giveaways.
Cash giveaways.
For B&U.
Oh, just for living in the district there?
Just for B&U.
Is it a lottery system? You have to fill out a ticket?
It is, you qualify by your household income. Martha McCallum on Fox describing it.
The freshman Democrat introduced the, quote, Livable Incomes for Families Plus Act. It would give between $3,000 and $6,000 per year to all low-income and middle-class Americans, including a full cash payout for those with no income at all.
What do you think about that?
Cash payout?
So California's providing complimentary health care. Wants to $3,000 to $6,000 cash payout to low-income families, in addition to whatever welfare state benefits, transfer payments they may be benefiting from. And then you got AOC saying, hey, how about a COLA bump for us hardworking members of Congress that are redistributing other people's money to you? See how it ties in so nicely?
It's a win-win.
You know who could use that $3,000 to $6,000 bump?
Omar.
Yeah, pay your tax bill.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Mike in Lake Forest, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We have a bunch of unemployable people. The last resort for these scoundrels is public service. Durbin, where could he ever get a job? I don't even know our other senator's name. the female.
Duckworth.
Who would ever hire her? AOC, all they want is money. Forget about Trump's tax return. I want to see their tax returns every year they're in office, Dan. How do they become multi-millionaires?
Yeah, thanks for the call, Mike. Well, look, you're making a good six-figure income, and you got good benefits and
it's not a full-time
pension.
job. I mean, is it?
Yeah. Plus, like with Dick Durbin, maybe your wife becomes a lobbyist.
That's possible.
And his job as a senator has nothing to do with her job as a lobbyist.
Of course not, Dan.
They're not in the business of influence peddling. Of course not. And, maybe back in the day, less so now, maybe in the back of the day, you get a tip on a company that may go public.
Right, some insider trading information.
Where a road may be built, and you buy a little piece of property.
Right near
like
that
Denny
road,
Hastert did.
Oh, that's right.
Prairie Parkway. Sure. I mean, there's all kinds of way to skin this cat when you're making the rules and you know when the rules are being made. Isn't there? And you know what else would be fun, just to Mike's point, Mike from Lake Forest Point? Compare their income tax returns during their years in public office as compared to their out years.
Oh, that
when
would
they
be
weren't
a
in
fun game.
before
Right.
they were in public
Before they're in
office.
public office.
Because to Mike's point about the skill sets that most of these politicians possess, I mean, I will tell you, just to use the Illinois General Assembly, which I know well, as one example. For most of the 177 members of the Illinois General Assembly, making 70 grand, vesting for a pension after 8, lifetime health insurance coverage, that is the best gig they could ever get. Even just 70 grand. Most of these people couldn't legitimately make 70 grand outside of government. So I love sort of Mike's point about the financial wherewithal attached to the skill sets that these politicians possess. Dan Crenshaw, he's a freshman Republican from Texas, right? Veteran.
They made fun of him on Saturday Night Live.
Right, of course, that's his claim to fame. His service to our country should be his claim to fame. But that's part of it as well. He was brought on by Martha McCallum to respond to this. So first, how about paying for the health insurance for people in this country illegally? He's not a fan, but California taxpayers apparently are.
Well, it's immoral and it's not fair to the taxpayers living there who've been paying their taxes and would like to see their money go to services and good governance from California. I mean, it's not a sustainable proposition, and it also creates a magnet for more illegal immigration.
We know that here in Illinois. That's certainly what we do with our Medicaid program. That's to which redeterminations are never done. So the people that are on Medicaid who shouldn't be on Medicaid, they just don't qualify. They're not eligible, but taxpayers are financing it anyway. So you're financing the guaranteed benefit levels of people that are making money than you. And to be fair to California and Illinois, the electorates in those states love it, and so it will continue. Crenshaw on Tlaib's proposal.
It's a misunderstanding of basic economics and also human nature. Okay, so it's a misunderstanding of economics because, one, we always have to ask the question, how are we going to pay for it? Are we going to put our children in even more debt? Are we going to raise taxes on somebody else? We already have one of the most progressive tax systems in the entire world. But it also doesn't make sense because it basically entices people not to work. Okay, if you're making $49,000 a year, then you're going to have an incentive not to take that extra job or extra promotion because you're going to lose your benefits. It is not a smart or efficient way to do welfare policy.
Yeah, the incentives piece of this is precisely correct. It's not a smart or efficient way to do welfare policy. And the same problem with Andrew Yang, Don't Touch My Wang's universal basic income proposal. All of the UBI proposals from the left are in addition to welfare state benefits, not in place of. Sean from Elmwood Park, I think the call's coming from inside the building.
It's coming from the other room.
Do you have any idea what a dinner in Washington, D.C. costs with all the trimmings? Not to mention the blow and the booze and the partying they all like to do. This is big money, kid.
What is
$170,000? You burn that up by April. What are you, nuts?
What is the market rate for a bump with your steak and.
Oh, I have no idea, but I can go back to the 80s. I can't imagine prices came down. However, what do I know with the amount of trafficking? But what I will say is the expense account. They live like captains of industry, and they do nothing. But if you listen to her, she wants to control everything. So maybe they do need a pay increase. The problem is they don't look at the success of the person. And I don't mean business. People can, there's been great people that have gone bankrupt. That's not what I'm trying to say.
That's right.
I'm saying, what exactly is the philosophy and what has she done for society? The problem I have is she is selling stuff that sells to the self-loathing and the covetous. And this is catching fire. This is no joke anymore in this country. This used to be something that we'd laugh off. Now you better be careful because you're not in shape to go through a Venezuelan upheaval, Prof. You'll go down in the first round.
I'll be consumed by one of the dogs. Thanks, Sean.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Napa know-how.
At Napa Auto Parts, you can get $25 or more off brand new DeWalt power tools by trading in your old ones. You know those worthless tools you never use anymore? Yeah, those dusty things can actually save you at least $25 on new DeWalt power tools. Not so worthless after all. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer ends 6/30/19.
Liberty Mutual Insurance presents
and Doug. Limu, there's a woman threatening to sign up for generic car insurance. Grab your birdseed and let's go.
I'm going to sign these papers right here, right now.
Ma'am, drop the pen. Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Thanks, Limu, Emu, and Doug.
Don't thank us, thank Liberty Mutual. But also thank us.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Equal housing insurer. State laws apply.
My pillow. Oh, I've been resting my hand on my pillow. I have a bunch of my pillows on my bed, and that's what I use to elevate my arm every night to go to sleep so I can heal properly and play golf sometime this summer, hopefully. But my pillow, it really is the best pillow on the market. And our friend Mike Lindell, you know him, the My Pillow guy, has authorized us to make the best offer ever on radio or TV. For a limited time, you can get a 2-pack of premium My Pillows for only $69.98. That's only $34.99 a pillow. Again, it is the lowest price ever offered in the history of My Pillow. So if you've procrastinated and don't own a My Pillow yet, or already know why this is the pillow everybody wants and loves because you have one, then here's the best offer ever. And by the way, you can still get 30% off pet beds, mattress toppers, and my favorite, those Giza cotton sheets. So act now to get this brand new, absolutely lowest price ever offered of 2 premium My Pillows for only $69.98. Go to mypillow.com, use promo code Amy, or call 800-489-0201. Either method, use the promo code Amy.
Your loved one really wants to live at home. It becomes difficult when living at home isn't practical any longer. To make the later years comfortable and the transition to other living arrangements as easy as possible, there's Gurney Manor, a premier assisted living community. Residential assisted living at Gurney Manor is very personal, updated, and modern with only 8 total residences. This is a very private facility in a residential neighborhood with 24-hour care, a luxurious living space, and first-class amenities. It's high-level care at a much smaller scale with 1 caregiver to every 4 residents, plus an on-site RN LPN, perfect for residents needing assistance with daily chores that can't be done alone. For a more cost-effective solution than 24-hour home care that includes daily activities and outings, home-cooked meals, housekeeping, and laundry services, choose Gurney Manor for your family member. Learn more at gurneymanor.care in a truly home-like setting.
Gosh, balance of nature. Does Sean from Elmwood Park need some balance of nature? Superior. Are you getting your fruits and veggies that you're
along with a
supposed
sedative?
Yes, none of us are getting enough in our daily diet. That's where balance of nature comes in. 10 servings of 31 different fruits and veggies, all in a single capsule. And it can't be easier than that, folks. You hear people talking all the time about balance of nature, including me, because it works. So start living a healthier life today by taking balance of nature. And here's the deal you need to take advantage of before it's gone. For a limited time, you can receive a 30% discount and free shipping on your first preferred order of Balance of Nature. But you've got to use the promo code Chicago. That's 30% off and free shipping when you call 800-246-8751. That's 800-246-8751. Use promo code Chicago or simply go to balanceofnature.com. Promo code Chicago.
Hi, I'm Amy Kessam of the Northwest Side GOP Club. We're an organization of politically active individuals from the Northwest Side of Chicago and neighboring suburbs. We provide a united, powerful voice and force for change that believe life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are superior to increased regulation, waste, and corruption that have become the norm at every level of government. The NWS GOP Club inspires both thought and action to set things right in Chicago, politically, fiscally, socially, and culturally. We invite you to be a part of this historical change in Chicago and Illinois politics. Please join us for our annual fundraising event where we'll be celebrating Flag Day and our President Donald J. Trump's birthday the evening of June 14th at Score Sports Bar and Grill in Harwood Heights. For details about this exciting event or to learn more about our organization, please follow us on Facebook, Northwest Side GOP Club, or visit our website at nwsgop.com. That's nwsgop.com.
Can public school teachers lead prayer and Bible studies? This is Law and Justice with Jay Sekulow.
I was hear you guys talk about student-led, student-initiated prayer, Bible reading stuff. Our teachers, as long as it's student-led, student-initiated, can they come in and jump in on those prayers or those Bible readings?
Well, that's a great question, and I'll tell you where it comes up most frequently is at the See You at the Pole event, which takes place in September. And it's a student-led and student-initiated events, but oftentimes it's before the beginning of the school day. So the teachers aren't on contract time yet, and in that case, they can come and participate in it. But it needs to still be a student-led and student-initiated event. Teachers cannot, in the public school context, lead a prayer activity during school time. That is not allowed. But if the teacher's there and it's before the contract time and it's an event like See You at the Pole, there's the Department of Education guidelines on this that are very clear. The event can take place, and it's teacher participating that way wouldn't be a problem really at all.
Visit us at aclj.org. That's aclj.org.
AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Mike Tyson, Iron Mike. Remember when he said, I'm many things. I'm a convicted rapist. I'm a hellraiser. I'm a father. I'm a loving father. I'm a semi-good husband. I'm pretty much a tyrant titan.
Yeah.
Remember when he said that?
You got Father of the Year award after that.
That's, that'll go on his tombstone. He can add one more thing to what Mike Tyson is.
What?
University president.
What?
Mike Tyson, university president.
Where?
Tyson University. Tyson University is going to be located on a 420-acre marijuana resort Mike Tyson is planning to open, to teach cannabis cultivation techniques to future cannabis farmers.
You know what? That's the wave of the future. That's pretty smart, actually.
I thought about how much good I could do by helping people with cannabis. It was a no-brainer. Well, if it's a no-brainer, it's perfect for Mike Tyson. He's going to do so much good. This
Cannabis College.
420-acre marijuana playground near Desert Hot Springs in the California desert. This is taking advantage of the new zeitgeist with respect to marijuana legalization, merchandising, and now vacationing. Plus